So, Mega Man 3. We're actually going to be playing the PC version just to kind of try it out a little bit to see if there's any of that desync problem that we've had. If you're paying attention, the audio on the Switch version was having this weird thing where it would periodically just kind of slowly drift out of sync. Just on the audio, just like X1 through 3 did. But if we switched, if we bowed out of the game and then effectively restarted the game, and then reloaded the save, and then switched the CPU from regular and then back to turbo, it would fix itself. Which is very strange. So we're just going to test it just for the sake of it. I mean, yes, I own the Legacy Collection twice. Actually, that's not true. I own it 3 times. Shut up. Don't make fun of me. But yeah, there's you see this right here. This is the Legacy Collection physical, which I own, and then there's the Legacy Collection digital, which I own, and then there's the Legacy Collection on Steam, which I own. So, anyways, point being, good morning, everyone. Let's give this a try, shall we? So we're going to be switching over to the PS3 controller for this one. This should be interesting. Okay. No. Oh, right, there we go. So yeah, I do, of course, have the game muted because it's kind of loud. As per usual, there's a bestiary and it's awesome. It's super cool. In all honesty, the biggest reason why I anticipate Mega Man 3 will not review well is because of that guy right there. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. As usual, I like to show off the art, if it's here. Hang on a second. See if I can find it. Huh. Oh yeah, check out Blues. No, Robostall. It's kind of a new thing. Hey, Rush! By the way, this is the game that introduces Rush to the franchise. I like that one. Gunman! So yeah, hang on. I'm going to scooch this over so you can see this for a second. Rush actually had a drill form originally, and he was supposed to be able to let you drill underground. Obviously, that never got into the game. Along with actually a lot of stuff never got into this game. Like a lot of stuff never got into this game. Oh my god, where do I even begin with Mega Man 3? So many issues with Mega Man 3. What'd you get, Valerian? What'd you does? God, that's just... Look at all these boss submissions! Holy crap, that was a lot of boss submissions. Alright, so hold up. Just pause here for a second. Why, Valerian? Let's talk about Mega Man 3 for just a moment, shall we? First of all, let's give the positive for the bestiary because it's still there. And I keep checking manually to see if it's there. And it is, in fact, still there for 3. Bestiary, positive. We're just going to start with that. Right out of the gate, we're going to give a positive for bestiary. This is also a game that's going to likely get 2 pluses for music. Maybe 3. Of all the classic Mega Man games, I think this is the one most likely to get 3 positives for music. So, what the hell's going on with Mega Man 3? Well, the first thing that happened was they made Mega Man 2 and it was a smash success. Okay, cool. And then what's really weird is they just sat on it for about a year. Now, I want to stress the way I'm saying that. They didn't, like, start working on it or have a slow... No, they just didn't make Mega Man for about a year. Now, I've reported on what is effectively this exact same story several times for several other products, several other works, like the Hobbit trilogy, for example. Is a good example of a thing where they just sat on it for a while, and then the executives were like, "Oh crap, we need this as quickly as possible," and then they rushed the development. Even so, it looks like it was actually this long stretch development, but the actual development time was more like this, right? Another example, this would be Final Fantasy 15, a game that didn't, just dragged and dragged and dragged and dragged, and then all of a sudden they had to rush it. Mega Man 3 was exceptionally rushed. Now, what's funny about this is it took longer to make than Mega Man 2. Remember, 3 to 4 month development time. But cheers, Robostall. And he's gone. All right. So the weird thing, Mega Man 3 took longer, but they wanted to do more with it. And they A, rushed it, and B, had a pretty troubled development. So again, year gap, not touching Mega Man property at all. I have no idea why. Don't ask me. Then we skip forward, and then they're like, oh crap, we need a Mega Man 3. Quick, make a Mega Man 3. Oh, okay, here. And so what happened is they brought in Akira Kitamura. Now, if you don't know that name, that was the person who was the director for Mega Man 2 and is the creator of Mega Man. Pretty much everyone agrees on this one. So for once, I can report this pretty definitively. He's the guy who got the franchise rolling and who actually invented rock, okay? Pretty much everyone agrees on that. So he was brought on board to head up Mega Man 3. And then he left the project and the company and game development. Okay. Well, all right. Now, it wasn't quite that quick. There was a few months in between each of those steps. But he left Mega Man 3, then a few months later left Capcom, and then a few months later left the entirety of game development. He just retired. I was like, okay, well, shoot. All right, that sucks. Let's hand this over to this other guy, Masahito Kurokawa. Now, he's someone who had done some decent work on several other games, including the legendary DuckTales. Is one of the ones he worked on, among others. You know how it is at Capcom at this point in time. Most of the people had worked on all of the Capcom games, so he'd done some good stuff. But he had an interesting work cycle. Nobody liked him. He didn't like anybody. Let's just summarize that. We don't know the specifics. We don't know the exact specifics of why it is that this particular guy just didn't work with the team. But he didn't work with the team, and he quit the project in like protest. He's like, no, I'm done. I'm not working on this. So what happened is they actually suddenly didn't have a game director or producer, and they were like, you, artist, you're doing this. And Inafune says, what? And so this is Inafune's first game as actual director. But you'll notice that he wasn't really ready for this role. Prior to now, he had done, the dotting, which is the sprite work, and he had done sketches and character designs, and that's it. And now he was being told to do game direction and production in a project that was mid-stride, which was already having other issues. What kinds of other issues? Well, like I said, they were rushed. So they really, really were trying to hammer this thing out as quickly as possible. And just like, go! And it's like, oh my god, okay. What's our deadline? You got a few months. What? Okay. Right. I got this. Let's go ahead and work on this. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, I've got an idea. Let's bring in this wonderful composer. I didn't write down her name, forgive me. And she did Needleman's music, Gemini Man's music, and the credits music, and then got pregnant and went on maternity leave. Now, I don't want to... I'm not bashing women getting pregnant in the office. It's just another thing that happened. It's like, oh, we just lost our main composer. Okay, you. They point to I wrote this guy's name now, Yasuaki Fujita. So, please finish our soundtrack. And he's like, well, what's your game about? It needs to be a somber tone. It needs to be serious. Because that was always Inafune's thing, like from the very beginning. He thought that all the way back in Mega Man 2, remember? He's like, it needs to be this tone. Okay, and we have one of the best soundtracks in the franchise. So that would have worked out. that by coincidence, they got this random guy in here who just put out this banger soundtrack. But then, hang on, I'm not done with all the crap. They're like, okay, we're going to have all these big plans. We're going to have 8 Doc Robot stages, and we're going to have to spend some time and effort really editing and working with the stages to make them balanced and fair and well-designed. Okay, cool. And we're going to have 8 Doc Robots, and each one of them is going to be repeating one of the robots from Mega Man 2, so that's going to be awesome. We're going to have this brand new villain. He's called Breakman. And we're going to start actually doing story. Now, this is one thing I'm actually on board with Inafune, but it's probably one of the only things he's said over the many years that I agree with. That Mega Man is ripe for actually doing storytelling. And so he wanted there to be a story to Mega Man 3. And so he had this character, Breakman, who was going to be this whole new villain thing, and it was going to be leading to this big twist, and there's going to be build-up in just about every stage where you encounter Breakman, and not really a cutscene in the strictest sense, but the NES equivalent of a cutscene each time. Of all of these, only one remains. You remember how you show up in Gemini Man stage, and Breakman just shows up, stares at you, and then leaves? That's the only cutscene that remains. All the others were cut for time. So it was going to be little stuff like that to kind of tell a bit of a narrative as you went through the stages. By the way, notice I keep saying Breakman, not Proto Man, because Breakman was originally designed to be a completely separate, segregate character from Proto Man. Proto Man was going to be in this, Blues was going to be in this, but Blues and Breakman were supposed to be different characters. Yep. For those of you not aware, Breakman is literally just a reskin of Blues because they ran out of time. And so what's funny is even with that, Breakman was still supposed to be a separate character from Blues, but they gave up on that and just retconned it and said, yeah, no, it was Blues testing you. He was testing you to make sure you were good for a while. Yeah, that's totally what we intended. Wink, wink. No, they've been pretty overt about the fact that they were just making this up by the seat of their pants because, again, very rushed and troubled production. Hang on, I'm not actually done with how troubled this production is just yet, because I got one more little anecdote to share with you. How many of you remember Top Man stage? Just off the top of your head right now. Real quick, think about it. Picture it in your head, okay? Now, Top Man stage is kind of a botanist sort of greenhouse kind of thing, right? So what does that have to do with Top Man? I'll give you a moment. Take a drink while I'm waiting, you know. Get some hydration. Yeah, no, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut you off here. There is no connection because Top Man stage was lost. During the development, someone tripped over a cable and accidentally pulled the plug on a project in construction, and they either didn't save properly or it didn't save properly. And either because the files were damaged or because they didn't save at all, the Top Man stage was completely lost. All of it. Now, I want to stress this for a moment. How many of you have ever done stage design before? And I have a little bit as an amateur, obviously. But anybody who's done any kind of stage design will tell you that's a long, reiterative process. Like you set out the layout, and then you redo the layout, and then you redo the layout, and then you redo the layout, and then redo the layout. I've actually talked about this several times when it came to Mega Man X6, Mega Man X1, Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2. It's something I've talked about extensively because it's a very go back over it multiple times kind of process, right? Well, several people were in the office when this happened. There's actually an interview specifically about this hazardous, and apparently it was really loud when the guy tripped and thunk, and several people were witness to it. So yeah, it's a lot of work. And the reason I bring that up is because losing an entire stage like that is incredibly bad, especially when you're making a platformer. So if you remember why Top Man stage is not only has nothing to do with Top Man, but is the worst stage in the game in terms of just design, it's because they threw it together as quickly as possible. So, with all that out of the way, what we have is the buggiest and most unfinished Mega Man game possibly that exists. And I don't even mean that as an insult. This is just a statement of fact. It is also worth noting that Inafune hates this game. It is easily the least favorite game he's ever worked on, and he looks back. This is one of the reasons we have so much behind-the-scenes information on 3, because he has spoken extensively at multiple conventions and in multiple magazines about the construction of Mega Man 3. He was super unhappy working on this project. Now I gotta center this, so you gotta give me a second. Give me a second. I just gotta fix this real quick. Give me a second. Give me a second. Something about there-ish. Hang on. What about there? Looks like that should be. That doesn't feel right. It's because it's not right. There we go. There we go. There we go, to the pixel. Apparently, anytime I alt-tab, it freezes the game. That's good to know. Here, I'll pull it down another 3 decibels, see if that helps. I have to do all that stuff manually because there is no audio control. So, I left the intro screen playing for 2 reasons. 1, because that's one of my favorite songs of all time. And 2, because Diesel Edge just donated. And 3, because of the fact that there was originally supposed to be an intro. And nothing extensive, but if you've seen Mega Man 2's intro, or Mega Man 4's, you get an idea of what they were wanting to do with Mega Man 3. But again, rushed production. Thank you, Colored Master Spark, very much for that donation. I do always appreciate, thank you, and I'll put that towards Jack 2. And thank you, Diesel Edge, very much for the sub. I do always appreciate, and I'll put that towards whatever I want to. I have the power. Sorry. Anyways, moving on. And no, I have not heard a concert of this. Although, I mean, just that sounds terrible. Actually, playing real instruments with this? That's terrible. Mega Man 4 is on the Game Boy, and Mega Man 4 is on the NES as well. Haha, by the way, Xenon Agent. So. Notice the obvious graphical glitch, because that, yep, there's going to be a few of those. This is also one of my favorite stage select screen songs in the franchise. The only other one is 8. That really challenges this for me. Wow, this is really loud. Hang on. I'm going to lower this on my end a little bit because holy crap, that is actually quite loud. There we go. Alright, so. Those of you who have not played Mega Man 3. Only the people who have not played Mega Man 3. What order should we do the bosses in? Damn it, I can't. Okay, so we'll do Needle Man first. Okay, so Needle first. Then Snake. Then Hard. Then Top. Sorry, it keeps doing this when I alt-tab. And then Shadow. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we still need Spark, Gemini, and Magnet. So we'll do Gemini. Whoops. So we'll do Gemini next. And then Magnet, and then we'll do Spark last. That's... Okay, so now that you've decided the order, I can go ahead and tell you something. They were experimenting with a new concept, and this is a concept they would continue forward in several games henceforth. So in most of... in Mega Man 1 and Mega Man 2, there's a loop of damage, right? If you beat this guy, then 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 this guy, and then you can beat this guy. So you just pick where you enter the loop, and there's usually a best answer for entering the loop, like on Metal Man or on Cut Man. And then you just go through the loop there in terms of weapon weaknesses, right? Mega Man 3 has 2 loops. So it's actually best to break into those 2 loops with Buster twice. You effectively have to. So our first loop is, let's see, it's Needle to Snake to Gemini to Needle. So that's one loop. And the other loop is Hard to Top to Shadow to Spark to Hard. I think that's right. I think I didn't miss anything there. Oh no, and Magnet, sorry. Well, which was Magnet's in that one? Actually, I don't remember what Magnet's weak to. What was Magnet weak to? Oh, Magnet's weak to Spark, duh. And Hard's weak to Magnet. Yeah, no, that lines up. Okay, sorry, so it's actually Spark to Magnet to Hard to Top to Shadow to Spark. Yep, okay, there we go. So those are the two loops. This should be interesting. First of all, love the backdrop. We can see immediately that we're in a city. Hold up. That should... no. That should be jump. That should be fire. What the hell? There we go. That's better. Hold up. So we've got rewind, and we've got save states, and all that fun stuff. So let's give out the collection plus. Let's just call these what they are. The collection pluses. Good save system. With save states. Rewind feature. And quality of life stuff. Okay, so there we go. Let's just get the collection stuff out of the way super quick. I'm afraid not, Gingaman. You will not be able to choose when it comes to Mega Man 8. Oh, remember to vote if you haven't. I still only have about half the votes I should on that. I don't know why people aren't voting. Why aren't you voting? Do you not care? That's okay. I don't blame you. I mean, after all, there are more important things to vote on, like, well, actually, nothing comes to mind. So. So, I should mention that this game is a wee bit harder than the last few. In fact, I would actually consider this to be one of the hardest Mega Man games ever. So, you're going to watch me die a lot in this one. I just want you to be aware of that. I should probably mention that I used to do no hit challenges in this game. No, I don't know why. I think it's because I was stupid. Notice that's actually the mini-boss for the Doc Robot stage that we're standing on right here. Yeah, probably, Cycloud. Now, I haven't done that since I was a kid. I don't claim to be good at this game. In fact, I never even really got into practicing speedruns for this one. Oh yeah, so... we can slide now. Now, what's funny is nothing in the game tells you how to get past this. Now, the manual tells you how to slide, but, you know... nothing in the actual game informs how to slide. It's just you kind of have to figure out how to do it on your own. It is interesting that they mandatorily force it in several sections, but... oh yeah, by the way, it's also really broken because of that problem right there. If you're not catching it, or if you've never played this game, the slide, and this game specifically, it's the only one that has this problem, is a little bit buggy. Mostly because, I mean, this is Mega Man 3 and the whole game is buggy. And if you try to slide twice in a row, you have to actually do a neutral and then a re-input in order to be able to actually accomplish that. Oh, this is terrible. Yep, nope. I actually knew that was coming. That's okay. I'm actually pretty proud with how far I got with 2 health. Oh yeah, the slide is a great concept. It's great for almost exactly the same reason that the dash was a great addition to the X series. There we go. So these guys are actually bugged in that their hitbox is smaller than it should be. Just keep sharing that. Actually, no, Night Forwarder. I suppose I'll have to tell that story at some point, and I will, but... for now, all I'm going to say is that I never succeeded at a no-hit run in Mega Man 3. Big Eye's back, except this time he's a little bit more consistent, and you can slide under him. Oh yeah, the animations are pretty good. The graphics are almost assuredly getting a positive, along with the animation. So, Needleman can bug out. You're going to hear me use the word bug a lot in this review. We'll see what happens. So he's not bugging out now, he's just killing me. That's okay, though. I deserve to die. It's actually a pretty good pattern. I just could not get ahead of his shots. Oh, no, this is a bad way. He can physics his way into your face, and that's just kind of the end of that. It's hard to explain. If it happens, you'll know it, trust me. Damn it. He's also frustratingly random with what he chooses to do, and he is very berserkery, as you can see. Whoop. Nope. Damn. So, we game overed. So let's go ahead and hit continue. And that puts us back at the beginning. That's expected. That's okay. That gives us a chance to talk about the stage, which is kind of plain, actually, isn't it? It's almost like they were really rushed on development. Whoops. Pay attention more. Yeah, he moves around a lot. Mega Man 3 is when they really started leaning into the weaknesses concept. I actually have talked about this already. The idea was they really wanted you to use those boss weapons on the bosses. So they figured the best way to encourage you to do so would be to make it so that the bosses take very little damage from anything other than their weakness. In fact, in some cases, they literally take 1 damage from things, even if they are, you know, an actual boss weapon. They still just take 1 damage from it. Which is, of course, the same damage you do with your Buster. Anyways, I'm sorry, I should talk about the stage design here. Pretty simple stuff for the most part. Notice these are not instant kill spikes, which I point out because, you know, we won't get that cheap until we get to the Doc Robot stages. There we go. I think I agree with that, Melkor Blade. This is also considered one of the hardest Mega Mans in general, with the possible exception of 9 and also maybe 10. Oh, by the way, those are supposed to be Sniper Joe continuations, because of course they are. There we go. But I actually didn't have artwork, and you notice it didn't have it here. Hang on, let's grab a save really quick. Because I didn't see any artwork here. Yeah, I didn't see any artwork. So, double checking, and yeah, it's just the bosses. Oh yeah, by the way, funny little side note. There actually is a story to this game. I suppose I'll share it because the game won't. So Dr. Wily was rehabilitated. Some say he was reprogrammed. Some say he saw the error of his ways. Some saw he filled his time. However you want to think of it. And as a consequence of having fulfilled his time and rehabilitated himself, he started working with Dr. Light again. So it's like, hey, Dr. Light, I want to work with you. And Dr. Light's like, yes, let's work together. And they built these 8 robots as well as the final boss, Gamma. Now, the 8 robots were designed specifically to help, we've talked about this before, designed to help pull resources from extraplanetary colonies. Because in Mega Man 3, they were already an interstellar power. Now, we've actually talked about this in the X series already, because in the X series, let's go ahead, whoops. There we go. Because in the X series, remember they kind of lost their interstellar capabilities and then started regaining it and then had an apocalypse and then started regaining it again and then lost it again. Because, you know, the tech level keeps getting reset by all these apocalypses that happen over and over and over. That kind of problem, right? I'm going to check something real quick with the audio balancing. I'm just curious. Of course it's going to mute. Well, whatever. Let's see what this does. Looks like it's the same volume for you. It's a lot quieter for me, though, which is good. Anyways. So, yeah, the, most of these are, not all of these stages, but most of these stages are actually happening on colonies on other worlds. And these specific robot masters were built by Light and Wily to oversee these colonies to help keep these resources coming, because they really needed these resources in order to keep the planet going. Now, there's another addendum. Each of the robot masters, when they, oh my god, they suddenly go berserk for no reason. It's totally not Dr. Wily. And they're like, oh my god, they've gone berserk, and they've stolen these power crystals that are necessary to power Gamma. Okay, so we're sent to go retrieve them, and that's kind of the basis of the premise here. That's why we're going to these colony worlds, in order to get these power crystals back from each of the robot masters. By the way, this is yet another boss who does stuff when you shoot. In fact, we're going to be seeing a lot of that when it comes to this one. This is a death. This is a death. I've already taken too many hits. It just takes so long to work Needleman down with Buster only. By the way, I don't think I've ever done Needleman first, so that's, thank you for that. Thanks. Appreciate it, really. I mean, in a Buster only run, it doesn't matter, but oh my god. Nope. Nope. Oh, that pattern! Oh, that pattern! Nope, no, he just really wanted to kill me there, didn't he? Jesus Christ. He really wanted that. Whew. Almost. The fact that he's pseudo-random really hurts, because his collision damage sucks. Oh, look at that. It's a fifth of my health just for touching the guy. You wanna... Now this is a terrible pattern. I'm gonna die here. This is an awful pattern. I do like this fight, though, believe it or not. Nope. I would just eject evil energy, personally, Gingaman. I always thought it was a stupid addition to the series, but that's just me. But if they wanted to keep evil energy, yeah, no, they probably would do that. We found this energy from other worlds to help us power this super robot. Yeah, I mean, come on, that just screams evil energy, doesn't it? Oh my god! Especially since most of the robots in 8 are actually powered by the evil energy, because, you know... God, I hate that pattern. There's one pattern he does, which is pretty rough to dodge if you don't get the jump at just the perfect time there. Yeah, it's that one. And again, it's pretty random if he does it or doesn't, and he can... So, you may or may not notice he's reacting mostly to me. But there's one thing he can do quickly, and that's what he did right there. It's when he jumps up immediately, rather than doing it after a bit of a pause. And he can just decide to do that pretty much at will. But I'm still good at this game, so I can still do that. What? I really wish it wouldn't pause when I alt-tab. So I find Needleman's story arc to be... story arc. Wow. Level design to be pretty boring. It's not like Seraphim, who is incredibly awesome. It's far more boring than Seraphim. Thank you, Seraphim Altaniel, as always. I'll put that towards Diablo 3. Thank you. So, I think Needleman's is, yeah, it's kind of a short, boring stage. There's really nothing to it. I don't think it's a negative. There's nothing wrong with it. They do decent escalation, and most of the enemies are at least reasonably well done. The catch is the Needleman fight, which is actually a really good fight, I think. Also, I like the boss song in 3. It's one of the only classic games where I like the boss song in. Hell, I will take frickin' Robenza, which is a dumb name, over Evil Energy any day of the week. I'm just saying. But yes, plus to Needleman fight, because I honestly really enjoy that fight. So, yeah, I love this song. I've been asking you guys throughout this whole sequence, throughout this whole franchise, to share with me your favorite songs per game. So what's your favorite song in Mega Man 3? When we get there. Say it when you get there. Don't say it until we get there. But the reason I bring that up is this is tied for my favorite song of this game. Notice, by the way, they actually have... That's a good question, Traxia. We don't even know if it's the same thing. Notice they actually show the password there, so there's no skipping it. You don't have to hit down, hit password, have a slow transition over the password screen, and then have a slow transition back. Instead, you just have the password right there, which is kind of awesome. What are we doing next? Snake Man! That's funny. A lot of people like this as their favorite. I'm just gonna shut up for a minute. Nope, okay. I don't know. I think Snake Man's with Slytherin. You know how they are. I'll take those. Notice the stage design is substantially more well-designed than Top Man. It is more designed than Top Man stage, but it's also more designed than Needle Man stage. We've already had proper usage of introducing enemies, proper usage of the terrain to make the enemies more difficult than they should be. We've got things that kind of encourage you to move forward. It's far more creative visually. We've had a mini-boss who is part of the stage. This is probably getting a plus, this stage. This is a pretty good stage. Yeah, I always get the timing on that wrong. Snake Man is actually not a terrible pick for your first boss if you want to jump into this one. But it is still going to be a little rough when you get to him. Snake Man has an incredibly basic pattern and will probably not get a positive for boss. Because he's just so simple. But hang on a second. So, what the hell are these things? This is something that was an idea they had bouncing around. They wanted to give you a way to just kind of refill what you needed. Now, from what I understand, originally these were supposed to check what you were missing and refill what you were missing. In other words, if you've ever played like Super Metroid, for example, or some of the Zelda games, they have a similar mechanism where the game will check what you're low on and then drop what you're low on. However, instead it's just purely random and has nothing to do with anything. In later games, they would replace this concept with flip top in order to accomplish the same idea. Good morning, Darth Medora. How unfair is this game? Well, ask me again when we get to the Doc Robot stages. Because the Doc Robot stages aren't just unfair, they're literally untested. There's a specific angle to dodge those guys on. Cool backdrops. So, what the hell is going on with Snake Man? What's his purpose? The general idea behind Snake Man was supposed to be, and this is a bit of conjecture, but this is also based on the Archie comics. He was the search person. He was like Search Man, to put it into just simple terms. He was here specifically to be able to scout out the area and find the resources they needed in order to be able to feed the colonies and yada yada yada. This is one of the cooler sections, by the way, in my opinion. We go through this whole snake thing, then we go through this air motif thing, and we've got these bullet bills that change their attack pattern based on whether or not you hit them. This is just really cool, in my opinion. Oh yeah, and obviously Airman was actually supposed to be here originally. Yes, yeah, I knew that was coming. That's okay. Whoops, I didn't mean to hit that button. That's okay. Yeah, remember there was supposed to be 8 Dockman stages, or Dock Robot stages, excuse me. So, Airman was supposed to be here. That's actually the main reason why they've got the air section and the air motif. Oh yeah, those are bugged. Sorry, I should have pointed that out. Those platforms are bugged. In all and total sincerity, we should probably give this game a -4 bugs. There are a lot. Most of them are not beneficial. And it is a fairly buggy game. Graphically, in terms of how enemies work, in terms of hitboxes, in terms of how some of the weapons work. It's just, there's just bugs, yo. There be bugs here. I did, Zack Tap, because I love that song. By the way, notice I don't slide a lot. I especially don't slide a lot in 3 because whenever I'm doing any challenge runs or, you know, speed runs of 3, the slide is something you'd want to be very precise with, and because of that bug I already mentioned, it's very imprecise. So I essentially learned not to lean on it. And so I just kind of don't slide unless I have to. Oh yeah, the intro song to this game is the other song that's tied for my favorite song in this game. Yes, there's 3. Sorry. I felt like I mentioned that earlier, but I kind of spaced it. I just mentioned how it was one of my favorite songs of all time. Like, seriously, it's on the Zero playlist. What, you don't like plasma shots going through the walls, Trihexia? In all honesty, the idea was they didn't want to limit the player's ability to shoot, because designing that so that shots didn't, so shots obeyed collision would mean that a lot of extra programming they weren't really prepared to do. There we go. Bye. So I missed that jump, for example. I cannot believe I did that. Hang on, just because I'm curious. What is the rewind button? Okay, there's the rewind button. I just wanted to see what it was. I mean, I always think of that jump like Metal Man's jump. It's harder than it looks. Anyways, so because... I was saying something. Oh yeah, attacks go through walls. So programming the game to make it so the attacks don't go through walls would actually involve... The way they do it is they set it up so that there are parts of the platforms which are considered objects instead of background. And that would mean rendering those as sprites, which is something the NES could do, but has trouble rendering so many sprites at a time, especially when they... And it would effectively eat into how many actual objects they could have, like, you know, enemies, for example, or power-ups, or weapon shots. So they decided just screw all that noise. Let's just make it so that they're background elements. You can just shoot through them. Okay. And we're there. I mean, all the Doc Robots get a cutscene, but it was just going to be Doc Robot, Giant Red Guy. So this guy can actually be pretty rough for a first player. I'm going to try to show off why a little bit. So this does not count, okay? I just want to be clear about this. This is just me showing off how rough this fight can be for a first-timer, because it's really hard to actually dodge some of his attacks, even though he's actually really simple in his pattern. Unless you do this, of course. So I guess I might just kill him here. Ugh. He's still got a pretty big hurt box, as you can see. And because I screwed that up, so okay. I'll go ahead and accept that. I'll go ahead and accept the death. The point is, that's all he does. He just kind of walks back and forth, and he shoots the 2 shots, and that's it. He has a very simple pattern, so he's not getting a positive because he's just whatever. The thing is, because of his large hurt box and because of his large jump angles, there really is only the one way to dodge him, which is what I was showing off earlier. Thank you, Verdian Toast, very much. Always. Much appreciated. I'll jot that down for Republic Commando. Really wish that wouldn't pause when I alt-tab. Hate that crap. So, I am giving a plus to Snake Man stage. I don't think I need to make my point. Yeah, if that floor wasn't designed like that, Snake Man would be a complete joke. Let's do that. There we go. By the way, notice they're doing even more expositing on how you get your weapons in this game, to really make it clear to players that you get the weapons from the enemies. Like, they pull up the pause menu and show the weapon energy filling, for God's sakes. I'll just grab a quick save state just so we don't screw that up. Who's next? Hardman. This is my usual first one. Probably Trihexia. I mean, your guess is as good as mine, really. Oh no, bee enemies! Oh no, bee enemies! Oh no! What? So, I'm not dealing with those. Those actually aren't even bees, they're freaking hornets or whatever. I love this song. By the way. This is probably my second favorite song, or fourth, I guess, technically, depending on how we count that. First thing we have is we have a spawn of the hornet spawning enemies in a nice open field so you can get used to how they work. Then it's in a more jagged terrain, then in more jagged terrain. Then we get a first shot of these things, and it's really easy to dodge them. In fact, it's hard not to dodge them the first time. That gives us the idea of how they work, so we can get a concept of, okay, this is where this is going. Oh no, we literally can't make that jump! What do we do? Did you know this game starts you off with the rush coil and the rush jet? Similar to the slide, this is the kind of thing they sort of are... Is that the Marine? Nope, that's the jet. Oh, right. You're right, I got jet from Needle. I'm sorry. Anyways, sorry. You do start off with the rush coil, though. I was about to say, that's not the Marine. You do start off with the coil. Similar to the slide as a concept, the game doesn't really exposit on how this works in any manner, other than requiring you to use it. No, he won't despawn. What do I do? Well, let's see what our enemies' weapons are. Let's see, we have some... This will totally get him. Yeah! Okay, hang on. I got this. Okay. Just gonna move on here. So yeah, weapons are probably not going to get a positive in this one, just to be blunt about that. Yeah, the weapons are not great. In fact, I'm not sure there's any weapon in this game I particularly like. It's one of the... So, Mega Man 3 was actually the beginning of me doing Buster-only runs as a normal thing. Because I just got used to playing it that way. First E-Tank. Blade. Shadow Blade is literally a nerfed Metal Blade, and that's not me making that up. So hey, here's what those bees enemies actually are like. You can see why I just kind of dodge them usually. Hey, who's this weirdo? Wait, I did it wrong. There you go. Okay, so, yeah, you can hear the whole song if you pause there. I just got a donation, which is the real reason I paused. And it's from Blue Dragon Fire Blogs. Thank you very much for that donation. Always. I'll absolutely put that towards the Metroid block. Thank you. No, I agree. I feel like a lot of the Mega Man games can be seen as a reaction to the previous ones. I feel like these weapons could have been better with more time and more effort put into them. As is, they're just kind of not good. Even the ones that are acceptable aren't really all that great. A little bit of fine-tuning, a little bit of altering of some of them would have helped. Because, like the problem is, and I've talked about this so many times. In fact, I've used Mega Man 3 as an example of bad weapons many times as we've been going through this franchise. Needle Man is just another Buster Shot. It's the same type of shot. It's just a straight shot forward. It just does a little more damage. Sometimes. Not always. So it's like, psh, okay, sure. Snake Man is a ground search weapon, which sounds like a cool idea, but there's only a few sections where it's actually useful. So that's not really all that great. And it doesn't really have any utility. So, okay, that's not great. The Shadow Blades, it's nice to be able to attack in multiple directions. But again, the damage on the Shadow Blades is awful. And its range is terrible, too. It's not quite a melee weapon, but it's more like a mid-range weapon. Because it doesn't go all the way out like the Metal Blades did. Hardman's weapon is another just a straight shot forward. Except it's a really slow missile that really slowly attacks slowly this way, slowly. Really terrible weapon. Top Man's weapon is hysterical. Now, Top Man's weapon is the only weapon that's actually kind of wrong. I don't want to say bugged. It's more like unfinished is the word there. Top Man's weapon, every frame it does damage, it drains your weapon energy for doing it. However, if you use it on something that's invulnerable to it, which is about 80 to 90% of the enemies in the entire game, they just, every frame, don't get hit and you lose energy. It's actually possible to literally lose your entire tank of energy trying to topspin a single normal trash mob. So topspin is worthless except in 2 cases in the entire game, both of which is something that's weak to it. Okay, so that's not great. What else we got? Gemini Laser. Oh, that's cool, right? It gets to bounce on the screen. Yeah, that's cool. There's a problem with the Gemini Laser. It bounces for quite a while and may or may not hit something as a result of that. And as it's bouncing around, you can't switch weapons, and you can't pause. Now, this is a regular thing. I actually pointed this out back in Mega Man 2 during the Boo Beam blocks boss, right? You can't pause while one of your weapons is out on the screen, including the item 2, or the item 1, excuse me, which is what the issue for us. So, if you're fighting a boss and you miss, that weapon is just doing nothing while you can't do anything other than dodge. You can't fire again because you only have one shot on the screen at a time, and you can't pause to use an E-Tank, for example, or switch weapons. Now, that does leave 2 other things, but hang on, Sparkman, I have to show you why Sparkman's weapon sucks. It's hard to explain without just showing you it. Magnet Man's weapon is the only weapon I think is actually worth a damn in all of in all of Mega Man 3, because the magnet missile, this is a cool concept. It shoots out, and then when it sees an enemy, it either homes up or homes down into that enemy. That's actually kind of cool, and there are several enemies and several circumstances where the magnet missile is actually worth a darn. So that's 1 out of 8 good weapons. Not a great record. So I'm gonna go ahead and admit that I usually have trouble with these fights, especially on challenge runs. Something about that amuses me. But yeah, that's not even Breakman. It's literally just Blues. Hi, Blues. Doing no hits on him sucks. However, they give you a health up right after that. By the way, I'm probably going to give a plus to Hardman stage as well. I was just about to say, the only downside of Hardman stage is that guy, and you can just break him because they give you a nice, long section of killing him before he manages to jump over to you. So Hardman can be pretty rough, and we do not have his weakness, but that's okay. He actually, like most of the bosses in these early games, he's pretty simple. But he follows a very static pattern. He shoots 2 of his fists at you, which home in on you, unlike the actual fist you don't get. And then he does that. It's tradition to get frozen in the air. You gotta get frozen in the air. Yeah, I'm too far behind on damage. Yeah, okay. Unlike many Robot Masters, I'm actually okay with the fact that Hardman does a lot of collision damage, because he should. That's kind of his shtick. So there's another strategy you can use. It's literally kill him before you die. Take the first hit from the shot, because it does much less damage than him, and then just fire weapons into him. You kind of need a full tank to do this strategy, but it does work. It's a classic DPS strategy. Kill it before you die. You got another worthless weapon. Okay, who's next? Oh yeah, plus for Hardman stage. Maybe? I don't know. You know what? I'm walking myself down from that. I think that Hardman stage, while it does have some good stuff, it also has bad stuff which drags it down. Let's put Hardman in an aggregate. Because we've got some questionable choices, and we've got the Proto-Man fight, the Blues fight. Alright, back into it. Who's next? Who's next? Top Man! Goody. I already talked about this, but, so yeah, this solar energy botanist plant is Top Man stage because, whoops! I mean, all the songs in this game are freaking bangers. Let's just call it what it is. So we've got random screws that connect together and hopping Mexican jumping beans. The only top-themed enemy in the stage. Lots of greenery as they're growing stuff here. Yeah, don't do that. You know, Top Man's music is legit. Oh, by the way, I should show off just how awful that shot is. Look at that. Look at that! Ironically, Top Man is weak to Hardman. So we will actually be getting his weakness. You've given me 2 weaknesses in a row, which is kind of weird. But I'll take it. 3 needs all the help it can get when it comes to that. Or maybe I need all the help I can get. But you notice how there's just not a lot of design to it? It's not bad, and I'm probably not going to give a negative to it, but there's just not much here. It's just a big section, which, you know, just has some enemies on it. If you go the upper path, you get a bonus. Okay, and that's kind of it. Yeah, it's uninspired. That's a good way to put it. And again, I've already told you why. It's specifically because of the fact that they had to make this on a crunch. And just were like, here. This is the only enemy in the game where Shadow Man's weapon is actually useful. I'm just saying. I screwed up. Almost did that contactless. We have done Needle, Snake, and Hard. We're currently doing Top, and then we'll do Shadow, Gemini, Magnet, and Spark in that order. Oh my god, another top-themed enemy! That's 2! That's pretty impressive. Ironically, the second cat is much easier to kill than the first one. Although you're more likely to see the flea enemies. Why is there a cat enemy on a plant stage for a Top Man? I have no idea. So I have a few friends who could never do this particular jump, and would always use the rush jet on this stage, just for this jump. Now, I say that because I'm about to fail at it. Nope, okay, we're okay. Hey, 3 top enemies! Oh my god! This is crazy! These things are kind of neat. A little bit of tech show off there. And we're there. So again, Top Man stage is not a negative in my mind, but I don't think that's worthy of a positive. So Top Man's interesting. What's interesting is this is yet another example of a boss where collision damage actually makes sense. But unless you get hit by his shots, he's pathetic. His shots are very easy to dodge, and his dash is very easy to dodge. So, Top Man is pretty pathetic. I know some people who would start on Top Man, even though he doesn't give you anything really, just because he's super easy to kill, even with Buster. Over to Shadow. Top Man's power beats Shadow Man and the final boss. We get some jazz music in here. Now, I hate Shadow Man stage. You're probably thinking, what? Lord, why? Because I don't remember Shadow Man stage. I remember the Doc Robot version of this stage. I see it in my nightmares every night. That's a lie. But I could still remember it and picture it to this very day. Uninspired arena for an uninspired fight. I forget which one this one was supposed to be. I looked it up, I just can't remember right now. The only one that stuck with me was Airman. Shadow Man stage has some cool gimmicks, though. I actually really like this gimmick. It's a holographic projector. Pretty much straight out of Mega Man 2. And we're just gonna wait a moment so we can see where we're going. We got this nice little lava thing going on. Probably a trash compactor kind of thing. I don't know. So since that's not supposed to be Proto Man, the answer is no, Dr. Winter. The vague sort of retconny answer was that he was testing his brother. Oh yeah, by the way, funny fact. Some people automatically assume that Rock knows that Proto Man is his brother. Believe it or not, he doesn't find that out until Mega Man and Bass, I think, specifically. It's after 8, though, is the important part. When do we get Rush Jet? Right now. So, Rush Jet is overpowered as hell. This is why. Notice its energy does not tick down while I'm not on it. Now, they kind of allowed for that in some of the stage design. But, it is exceptionally overpowered. Now, the irony is just like how Metal Man's blades were overpowered in Mega Man 2, and then they nerfed it in this game as a consequence. Rush Jet is so overpowered in Mega Man 3 that it's been nerfed in every other iteration since, specifically because they didn't want to go back to overpowered Rush Jet. Yep, just waiting for that one. Ooh, didn't expect to get hit by that one. Okay, that's okay, that's okay. Because we have Shadow Man's weakness, and by God are we going to use it. Shadow Man's actually pretty rough. He's probably one of the hardest bosses, Buster only. And the reason why is because he has 2 things he can do after he jumps at you. One of those things requires you to do one thing to dodge him. The other thing requires you to do the exact opposite. You can see the problem here. So you just have to have really good reflexes, because it is possible to react to him, or get lucky. Notice that most of the enemies in this stage are actually pretty well designed to complement the stage design, too. So I'm actually willing to give Shadow Man stage at least an aggregate positive. I think there's some good stuff here. We've got the cool gimmick with the masking. We've got a large variety of enemies, probably the largest variety of enemies we've seen so far. And a lot of those enemies are specifically designed to, you know, either prevent you from jumping up, or try to encourage you to jump over, or try to encourage you to defeat from a distance, or try to encourage you to defeat from a distance. So, I don't know, what are we thinking? Full positive or aggregate positive? Help me out here. Either way, I need to see how many lives I have. I have 0 lives, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and pop a save, because I want to show off this Fight Buster only. It's probably one of the most, completed levels, I would agree with that. So he can shoot, or he can slide. Yeah, like that. This is Shadow Man without his weakness. So hang on. So I did that to show him off. So this doesn't count as cheating. So, with his weakness, he's a little different. Because he is extremely weak to Top Man. Because, again, it does damage every frame of contact. By the way, that's another way Top Man's weapon is bugged. And yes, this is actually a bug. You are supposed to not take damage while you're spinning. You don't have that iframe, though. So you take damage while you're using the weapon. That requires you to collide with enemies in a game where collision damage is a regular thing. I think we're going to officially give the bug negative, because it bugs. So let's just give that negative out right now, get it out of the way. Let's just give the boss refights negative, because we know it's going to be there. Yeah, no, what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to... So if you played this game, you remember Top Man, if you shoot him while he's spinning, he's invincible. That's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to activate that and just be invincible while you're spinning. So the goal was that you can use it defensively to, like, get a few moments of invul, a shield kind of a thing. Or you could slam into the enemy and just destroy them. And yeah, that would make Top Man's weapon substantially better. It's not, so... Now, I think we can all agree that we're not giving a plus to weapons. Are we giving a negative to weapons because of how kind of crap 7 of them are? Because this is not good weapon design. There's a reason I keep using Mega Man 3 as an example for the worst weapons in the whole franchise. Yeah, they're literally bugged. They're actively bad in multiple cases. It's just, what the hell? God. Hey, Shihali, what's going on? Yeah, the lag is wonderful. I haven't seen any audio desync, but then again, I'm not sure yet. And we'll like an hour. Which weapons are bad? Everything except for Magnet Man's. Shadow Man's is okay, but Magnet Man's is the only weapon that's actually decent. Most of the weapons are actively bad or literally bugged, like I just mentioned with Top Man's. So I'm giving a full plus to Shadow Man's stage, because yeah, that was a pretty good stage. I'm also going to give... So, let's do this. I think the animations in this game are awesome, in my opinion. I also think the brickwork is the best we've seen so far. Mega Man 2 is nice and all, don't mistake me. But one of the things I'm always reminded of is that 3 is when they really started to get good with their brickwork in the Mega Man series. 3, 4, 5, and 6 all look gorgeous for NES games. I shouldn't even say for NES games. They look gorgeous in general. Like, some of this stuff looks good today, in my opinion. So, absolute plus for brickwork. Just some really good stuff there. And sprite work for the enemies and for the bosses and for us. And absolutely enemy variety. I looked it up already. How many enemies do you think are in this game? Remember, there was 21 in Mega Man 1 and like 28 or something like that in Mega Man 2. And no, it was 21 in X6, and it was like 19 in Mega Man 1 and 28 in Mega Man 2. So how many do you think are in Mega Man 3? Yeah, if you could aim the Gemini weapon, I actually would agree that it would be a lot better. I do agree with that. Do ads count? I think so. I don't count mini bosses when I count those. But I do count like the trap weapons and stuff like that. They have a name. They're listed as an enemy. I count it. If we weren't counting those, we'd have to redo the whole count for all the games. So we count those. But we do count the bees, for example, on the Hornet bee thing. $40. Well, in fact, it is exactly 40. But yes, there are in fact 40 enemies in this one, and not only is that a good number, but as with Mega Man 2, there's good variety to how they attack you. You've got the missile guys who then shoot straight as they do it. You've got the ones that kind of rotate back and forth. You've got these guys who jump over you, but then jump right back after you, and their thing damages you. These guys are helpless, but they'll also attack straight down. These guys can home in on you, but only if you're in front of them, etc., etc. There's a lot of styles of how exactly they fight you in this one. So, definite enemy variety positive. In fact, we'll debate if that gets a second positive. I don't know. We'll debate that. So we might be getting back to the point where we have 2 positives for variety. But for now, we're doing Gemini. Interesting. Hang on. Yep, looks like Magnet Man is the only one we'll be fighting with Buster from this point onwards. Ah, there we go. Sorry. This is the most obvious interstellar outpost. Speaking of enemy variety. I'll take that. Yeah, I've actually heard a few people who said, oh man, we're at the South Pole, we're at the North Pole, or whatever. I mean, again, it's not like they really put a lot of the story into the game, because we didn't get that intro we were supposed to get, and, I mean, this is Mega Man, we don't get much story anyways. But as I pointed out in Mega Man 2, the Mega Man games do know how to do a lot with a little, when they try to. It's really a shame we didn't get the finished version of Mega Man 3. Oh yeah, this is one of the 3 songs done by, the woman whose name I didn't write down, because I'm an idiot, before she had to go on maternity leave. Random cutscene that has no significance, because we have no idea what it means. Like I said, that's the only cutscene of that remains in the game. Just gonna grab that. Honestly, I think I'm gonna go for this, too. That works. So this is why Rush Jet is incredibly useful in this one. It's a full flight. It's full flight in all directions. In most of the later games, the Rush Jet would be forced to go forward, so you could only, like, lean up or lean down. You couldn't go straight up or down or backwards. And in some of it, it's even worse than that. I always liked this as a concept. These things block your way. You have to defeat them. Yeah, you have to shoot them in order to progress. And shooting them releases an enemy, but the enemy is relatively easy to match as long as you're keeping up with it. And if you're not, well, then they will destroy you. Oh, they will destroy you. I know a friend of mine who's like, I don't have to fight these, they're just as tadpoles. And then he just got wrecked by it. Alright. How many of you used to sit here and make sure to wipe out all of these every time you played this stage? It's the Zelda grass thing, you know? I used to have patterns just to think about the most efficient way to make sure to clear some of these rooms. I know I can hit that. Does it affect anything? No. Fine. By the way, I'm going to give a sound design plus, but I have to admit, I'm a little bit biased. Because the take damage sound is my favorite of all the Mega Man series right here. That sound. I don't know how to do it. It's just a really cool sound effect. By the way, you notice how the itemization has been very fair and helping us to keep up for the most part? Granted, I'm decent at these 8 stages. Only the 8 stages. Oh yeah, we need to show... Okay, hang on. So I think it's pretty easy to give Rush a positive. Ignoring the fact that he's a good dog. There's also the fact that, just like the Magnet Beam and just like the items, Rush adds pretty good utility. The Rush Coil gives us a one-shot of getting much higher and enabling us to just... right? And Rush Coil is actually surprisingly utilitarian, and you start with it. The Rush Jet is, of course, incredibly overpowered. However, there is also the Rush Marine, which is actually just the Rush Jet. It's just underwater only. It's not great. In fact, it's essentially worse than the Rush Jet in effectively every way. Especially if that happens, and I actually kind of hope for that to happen to really show that off. By the way, there's another reason the Rush Marine kind of sucks. So first of all, we're out of it now. But the other reason it kind of sucks is because it's only... I think there's a grand total of 3 areas in the entire game which have underwater sections. And this is one of them. I'm gonna do this. Yeah, I tend to like utility. I have a whole category for it. I call it kit. Whoops. Oh, that's bad. Okay, well, we'll just do this here. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Grab the weapon energy. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thanks, Rush. You're awesome. Did you notice how they literally didn't hit the enemy there? Did I mention the hitboxes and hurtboxes are a little wonky in this one? Oh yeah, of course, Dr. Ornid. It's just the problem is the Rush Marine is not well designed. That's the problem. But anyways, so plus for Rush, let's just call it what it is. What do we think of Gemini Man's stage? It's probably one of the meanest stage of the original stages, but it's got some cool concept, and I do think it does a lot with what it's got. You start off above the ground of this alien planet. You go down in, there's this wonderful, alien-looking geometry. You fight your way through the bubbles. The difficulty is not a positive. And then you go through... Good difficulty is a positive, but difficulty is not a positive. And then you go through. It's like, okay, and then we get this thing, and then there's the underwater section. It's like, okay. And the water area is actually pretty interesting, because it's essentially just a platformer over a bottomless pit, except for the fact that you have 2 additional ways to bypass it if you want to. However, the enemy is harassing you constantly the entire way through. It is very visually impressive. I think it's probably one of the best visual stages in the entire game. Except maybe Wily 1, I think it is. It's Wily 1 or 2, I forget which. It also is one of the worst Doc Robot stages. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Gemini Man himself, so he's weak. Okay. So anybody who's played this game knows how the controls aren't quite right. And the really messed up thing is, we're probably not going to give Mega Man 3 a plus for controls, if not for nothing else because of that bug, but also because of the fact that the inputs are taken wrong. You know what I mean? If you played this game, you do know what I mean. I'm going to try to demonstrate, because the easiest way to showcase it is on Gemini Man. So Gemini Man just does this. This is his whole pattern. Unless you attack. Now, I'm not going to hit the attack button. Now, this is pure randomness. It's because it's bug. It's a glitch. But occasionally, it literally takes your inputs wrong. It's not doing it. I don't want to do this forever, but one of the things that can happen is it can occasionally take your inputs literally incorrectly and think you've done a shot. But because you haven't actually hit the button, it doesn't trigger in the same way. And that changes the AI of several bosses, and, of course, of several, oh my gosh, there we go. Enemies. There we go. Now, he's an extremely simple boss. Even once you kill his ad, all he does is run at you and shoot at you, and that's it. And before you kill his ad, all he does is he just does the jump over and over and over. He doesn't even shoot you with the freaking laser. Like, he can. I shouldn't say it that way. But yeah, he can shoot you with the laser. He doesn't have to, as I just demonstrated. So, not super impressed with boss or stage, honestly. Magnet next? Yep, Magnet. So, speaking of stages that give people problems. Go through this massive... Whoop! That being said, this is probably one of the more inventive stages just because of that mechanic right there. It's a neat way to not only give you a little bit more reach, but also to add some threat to jumps that otherwise wouldn't give you any problems, right? So we get exposited onto the magnet concept. Then we have to fight Proto Man. Ironically, the best thing to hit him with is Magnet Missile. Yeah, this is probably the other really complete level. Well, there's three. Snake Man, Magnet Man, and Shadow Man are all pretty complete levels. This one will probably get a positive. I mean, even the little steps, like the fact that we have a slowly... At several points in time, we have sections where there's enemies that are slowly encroaching on you, but you still have time to react to them. And you get to see what's coming and try to figure out how to deal with it. Or the magnet gimmick, which there's a vertical and a horizontal magnet gimmick, excuse me. I think I'm gonna go ahead and grab those. Just be a little safe about it. Or not. I've decided not to grab those. It's against my religion, sorry. Then we got this section. Then we do it with the magnet pulling us. Then we do it over a bottomless pit with the magnet pulling us. And we die, because I forgot where that next block was going to be. See you around, Jesse Ward. Have a good night. Have a good night. Oops. Aw. Oh yeah, and just to show it off. Whoop. Not high enough, which is important. Because otherwise you could just jump over it. Remember, you start with the rush coil. Damn it. Now I'm off tempo. Did it flawlessly on our first attempt. Gosh. I'm off tempo again. Oh my god. I'm too used to Mega Man 1. There we go. So, anyways, you could also just do this. Whee! Speaking of which, this is the mean one. And yeah, we're just gonna nope right out of that. If someone picked Magnet first, I was not looking forward to that. And because I could probably use it. God, it would be until 6 or 7 when the games would finally understand that there's a concept called weapon redistribution. I forget which one actually adds it, but it's funny to me how long it takes them to get to that point. So, if you don't know what that means, if you pick up a weapon energy and you don't have a weapon that needs energy selected, you don't get anything out of it. Yeah, I forget if it was 6 or 7. I guess we'll find out. I know they had it by 7. And they're finally like, hey, look, you can actually turn that energy into something useful so you don't have to switch weapons just to pick it up. Now, the downside with the selector is that it puts it into... how it decides what it puts it into is not something you really have control over. But anyways, Magnet Man, so we don't have his weakness. So we gotta do this the hard way. And Magnet Man can be interesting to fight Buster only. Similar to Needleman, he is very simple, but that simplicity does not make him easy. We're actually getting a really good pattern, believe it or not. Even though I'm constantly failing at dodging everything. There we go. Nope. Oh wow, I cannot believe I dodged that. Nope. So this is the other thing you can do. This sucks. So, like I said, he can do two things. He can either throw his missiles out, or he can grab you to him. Kind of simple. Nevertheless, I do think Magnet Man's stage deserves a plus, believe it or not. This is not Bob and George, our Spruce. He's using his ninja powers. He's not a full ninja like Shadow Man yet, but he's working on it. I don't think Magnet Man himself deserves a positive. I'd be willing to put him under an aggregate. What are we thinking on that? Excuse me. Because Magnet Man is pretty well designed despite the fact that he's simple. It's just there's not much to it. So first of all, thank you, Vigilant, very much. I'll put that towards Tor Jedi Knight, apparently. I think. It just says Jedi. There's 2 Jedi in Tor, so... I'm assuming you mean Jedi Knight. He's totally a ninja, Tab-Zero. I'm willing to just have Hardman's stage and Magnet Man's boss be a aggregate. I'm kind of with that. Those are both good aggregates. So that's just finishing out that aggregate. So I don't know what that is, Vigilant, but I love that name. That sounds super cool. So let me update the HUD a little bit. Let's just make sure we're up to date on that. Let's make sure that Trafin is here. Trafin, where are you? Trafin, no! We've lost him. Oh yeah, speaking of which, we should give the visual storytelling positive to Mega Man 3. It absolutely deserves it. Because, duh. No, that really wouldn't be his thing, Delbach. You got it, Trafin. Give me one moment. I'll jot that down for the Metroid block. Thank you, as always, sir. And if I didn't, I don't remember if I said thank you to Vigilant. But just to be sure, thank you, Vigilant, very much. I've got that down for Tor Jedi Knight. And seriously, Emerald Starfleet sounds so cool. Okay, now, by far my least favorite Doc Robot stage. Hate this Doc Robot stage. By the way, I'm going to let you decide the order in which we do the Doc Robot stages. Love the song, though. Wait, can you hear that? I think that's the sound of a second music positive. Come on down. There you go. Love the background of this one, by the way. The kind of solar, or not solar, I don't know why I said solar. The power plant. It's a little bit busy. We have multi-directional enemies. We've got these things providing these vertical damaging barriers, but you can bypass them with little timing. Also, if you have any epilepsy issues, this would be a good time to stop watching the stream until we finish this stage. No, I think Metal Man... I don't remember where Metal Man was going to be. You know what, hang on, I can just pull up. Give me a second, I was just looking at this earlier today. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Nope, it's not there. How about here? Nope. Okay, maybe it was here? Nope. Okay, hang on. One last place to check. And then I'm going to give up and get on with my life. Nope. Okay, I give up. Moving on. So, those are insta-kill spikes, and these are platforms that raise you. So that's cute. It's actually pretty easy to dodge, but I just want you to remember that when we get to the Doc Robot stages. Yep. Take the hit, and take the hit again. It's worth it. Worth it! In all honesty, even though... Sorry, Rush! Sorry! Even though this stage is kind of mean, it's actually one of the better ones in terms of stages to do first. Just because there's not much you can't avoid or otherwise bypass without what you start with. Your Buster and your Rush Coil. In fact, I would say this is a pretty reasonably designed stage, and certainly in the running for positive material. We'll see what I feel when we get to the Doc Robot version of it. No, remember that triple fall, by the way. Remember that. Don't get crushed by the garbage. Very important. I think this was Metal Man's. I don't remember. I'm stupid. There we go. Nope. Shouldn't have gone for it. We're 10 layers down. We're in B10 now. It's a very large facility we're infiltrating here. Yes, later Mega Man games would learn that you don't want something flickering at 30 FPS. You kind of want to slow that down a little bit for these kind of things. Gonna get hit on purpose. Not get hit on purpose there. We're gonna die. Very important. All RNG manipulation. We're gonna game over. Start the entire stage from the beginning. Very important. This is all part of seeding for the Doc Robot stages. That's what this is here. We need to make sure we're ready for the Doc Robot stages, so we need a very particular RNG seed. I was actually thinking about it. I should give this game another negative. Who's with me? More negatives. For hurt boxes, specifically. It's the Donkey Kong problem. Donkey Kong Country is a decent game, except in some cases you literally don't know what to dodge, where, and how. Because of the fact that you literally can't see where the enemy is actually hitting you. Now, that's a problem throughout the course of this game, but I literally just got hit twice, and I shouldn't have been, because I was not next, you know, I was avoiding the spark, but its hurt box was not what it looked like. Which, yeah, gets us back to our problem. Again, remember this screen. Or these screens, I guess I should say. That was on me. I jumped a little bit too late. Alright, well, nope. I gotta keep with it. This section's pretty mean, if it's not obvious. Oh yeah, I've got weapons that shoot up, but I gotta prove that you can do this with Buster only. Because this can be the first stage you pick, and blah, 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 blah. So we get hit. Wait a moment. We get hit. Spawn that one. Despawn that one. Or whatever. I disagree with that, but that's okay. We'll just do the whole stage over. Oh, we're not at 0 lives yet. Hang on. We're almost at 0 lives. Don't worry, we'll do this whole stage several times when we get to the Doc Robot stage. I mean, other than what the Leaf Shield, let's see. I can't think of any weapons that shoot up in Mega Man 2. If only Mega Man 2 had a weapon that could shoot in all 8 directions, that would be awesome. Damn it. I can't believe that actually hit me, to be honest. Oh, bull crap, that hit me. Bull crap, game. Oh, well. Now we start the stage over. You don't have a lot of iframes in this one, by the way. Yeah, you saw exactly what I was saying, Giant. That's why that's another reason that second negative is probably warranted. And by second negative, I mean first negative, but a separate negative. Hey, Dr. Papa Penguin. But yeah, trust me, if this looks mean, this is probably the actual worst Doc Robot stage. Not just because of all the obvious reasons, because bottomless pits, and spikes, and death, but also because there's a unusual property to the Doc Robot Sparkman stage. So, on all of the Doc Robot stage, there's only one checkpoint, and it's pretty far into a pretty difficult level, and well, it sucks for various reasons. Whoops. Hang on, it gets worse. You have to actually get past the boss to get your checkpoint, so you do have to defeat a boss to earn a checkpoint. Hang on, it gets worse. In Sparkman stage, that's actually not sufficient. You have to actually get past the screen, past the boss, and that's this screen right here. The triple drop here. And that's where the checkpoint is for the Doc Robot Sparkman stage. That's why I kept telling you to remember that screen, because we're gonna die there. And do the whole stage over at least once. I'm sure of it. Hi, Geludo. Oh, I thought I missed that jump. Okay. We do have his weakness, but for the sake of showing this off, this does not count. I mean, I have lives, so I guess it doesn't matter. Do I have lives, actually? I do have lives. Okay, so we can just show this off, Buster only. So once again, we have kind of a Snake Man kind of a pattern, except much more damaging. And yet, ironically, much easier to dodge, even though I just failed to dodge it there. Oops. Wrong attack. Wrong attack. Wrong attack. Oh, jeez, there we go. So that's Sparkman in a nutshell. And again, pretty simple. He just hops back and forth, does the AoE attack, and does the really big attack, which he aims specifically at you. Nevertheless, I think this is probably one of the most complex of the boss fights in 3, for whatever that's worth. He adapts a lot of what he does based on you and how you're maneuvering. How close he is to you determines whether or not he attacks or not, or whether he just keeps jumping. Notice how he'll just keep jumping until he feels like he has a line on us, like he just did there. In all honesty, I think Sparkman is probably one of the better designed of the Robot Masters. Up there with Needleman, I would say. So I'm willing to give that one a positive. And yes, this would eventually lead to Neon Tiger. Why do you do that, game? Neon Tiger. Totally. So I'm willing to give a plus to Sparkman. I'm not sure what I think of a spade. What do you think of a stage? It's like Shadow Machine, you know? It just rhymes. Actually, one thing I find funny. Thank you very much, Shadow Machine. As always. One thing I find funny about this, we've got Shadow Man, Snake Man, Spark Man, and I guess that's actually it. But I don't know, maybe I'm the only one who just looks at that and just kind of blurs those a little bit. SP, SH, and SK, I think it was, something like that. Thankfully, they added a little bit of an icon so you could see what it is rather than just having the acronym there. So... Alright, hang on. Time for a bit of a story. Back in the day, I used to love replaying Mega Man 3. Of course I did. This is actually a game that was gifted to me by my grandmother, specifically. It was one of the only games I would get every year. Grandma would get me 2 NES games, one for my birthday and one for Christmas. I actually told this story before. One year, thanks to issues, she felt bad and she skipped it, so she ended up sending me 3 games that year. But the point is, 2 of them came in a bundle. And I was like, oh, thank you, Grandma, you're so awesome. One of those games was Mega Man 3. The other one was Burger Time. Anyways, so I used to replay this game a lot. And what I would do, and I'm sharing this story because I want to know how many of you were in a similar boat. I hope to review Burger Time someday, Melkord Blade. Don't worry, it'll be like a 20-minute review. I would sit down, I'd play through the 8 stages and be like, yeah. And then I'd reset my NES. Then I'd start the game over, go to the password screen, punch in a password, and start the Wily stages. How many of you did the same? Oh my god, the Doc Robot stages. So at the time, I assumed I was just terrible at video games, which was very frustrating since, you know, I liked to be good at games, and I was the kind of person who would do challenge runs regularly in video games, even as a kid. Granted, this is more like I was like 13 or 14 at this point, but whatever, you get the point. Still, that really pissed me off. It took years for me to realize that the Doc Robot stages are very badly designed. If anything drags Mega Man 3 down, it is the 4 stages we're about to do. In fact, the only reason I might cheat on this game is because of these 3 stages. Which one should we do first? The order doesn't matter at this point, it's just which one do you want to get over with first. They're all bad. Needle. Okay. So let's explain why these are badly designed. First of all, rushed. But second of all, and more to the point, not actually properly play-tested. I want to re-stress, when I say not properly play-tested, I'm not being facetious and I'm not presuming. These levels were not properly play-tested. So, first thing we see is, hey, look, we have instant death needles. Okay, that's a great sign. And these are essentially remixes of the previous stages. More instant death needles, that's interesting. Oh, that's totally worth it. Let's go get that. Ugh! Oh no! Oh, hang on, I can get it this time. Oh no! Yes, definitely worth it. Oh no! I probably shouldn't screw around, because I'm gonna die a lot here. In fact, hang on a second. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So, I hope you like Rush Jet. Because, I mean, they know you have Rush Jet at this point, so they kind of lean on that a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Oh, hey, we're already to our first boss. Sweet. Oh, we made it all the way here. I don't know what's so bad about these stages. Yes, I did that on purpose. I probably shouldn't have, but whatever. So we're all the way back here. Remember, checkpoint issues. Oh, by the way, I'm not using the auto-fire. Just... okay. So now we actually need to die. Because we're actually low on lives, and we want full lives for the Doc Robot stages. So we're just going to walk up here. Just kind of got to hit on purpose. And death! Mega Man just flings himself on the spikes and says, you know what, I'm done. Sorry, let's try that again. Wow, so that's what rapid fire looks like, by the way. So you can tell I'm not using rapid fire because that's what rapid fire looks like. Oh, that's weird. Oh yeah, this is all. We're also almost guaranteed to give a difficulty curve negative. Because it's not just that the Doc Robot stages are insane, although that's part of it. Did you know the Wily stages are much easier than this? Like, in fact, what's weird is that the Wily stages feel like a breather after most of this nonsense. Which, again, is part of the curve being wrong. Grab the life. Save our energy. Grab the E-tank. Still saving energy. We're gonna need all that. Why are we still flickering? Why are we still flickering? Why are we still flickering? Ah, whatever. Okay. Hey, we stopped flickering. Whew, okay. So who's our first boss? I actually don't remember. Airman. I don't know what Airman's weak to. So, that's okay, we'll just go fight the boss again. Oh wait, no, we're at the beginning of the stage. I know I've already said this, but I really gotta rehash how much of an aggravation that is. Now, on the one hand, you might think, oh, well, you just use their weaknesses from Mega Man 2 and just kind of extrapolate what they're weak to. Okay. What was Airman weak to back in 2? Leaf Shield. So do we have any shield weapons in this game? No. Do we have any plant-based weapons in this game? No. So what the hell is what the hell is Airman weak to? And you're already starting to see the problem. Granted, you kind of have a little bit of that in general. So Search Man on Gemini Man, okay, you're sussing out the truth. That's, okay, sure. Spark against Magnet, that makes sense. Shadow Blade against Spark, that's the same concept behind Metal defeating, Cut defeating Alexa. Okay, sure, whatever. What else we got here? Then we have Needle, which is good against Hard. I guess it's penetrating. Magnet, which is good against... Magnet's good against Hard, sorry. Needle's good against Snake. I have no idea what's going on with that. Magnet's good against Hard, I guess because he's made of metal. Top is good against Shadow. I have no idea what they're thinking with that one. Hard is good against Top. I have no idea what they're thinking with that one. And Gemini is good against Needle. What? I'm just trying to say that this is officially when the series started getting a little bit trial and error-y when it came to figuring out the weaknesses, because they're not super intuitive. Hoping for health, didn't get a health. And now we gotta fight the boss with that much health. So, we'll try Hard Man, sure. Let's try that. That sounds like a good idea. So there's the first problem with using Hard Man's weapon on these guys. Notice how the... Yeah, it's kind of hard to dodge this. Back to the beginning. Yeah, at least it keeps our E-tanks through game overs, otherwise I would be substantially more pissed. He might actually be weak to hardmen. I don't know. I really don't remember what their weaknesses are. I have so many bad memories of the Doc Robot stages that I'm not joking. I used to, you know, do challenge runs of this game and then stop playing the Doc Robot stages or just, you know, use a password to go forward to the Wily stages because screw these stages so hard. Whoops, wrong thing. So we'll go ahead and Google it. What? What? Why aren't you dead? That was 1 off on my count. Great, so now we gotta fight Doc Robot with half health. Years of practice, Trapen. No, these were always planned to be here, it's just they didn't have time to do anything with it. So, they didn't. Part of the problem, too, if you're paying attention, the reason these stages are remixed isn't just because it lowers development time. We're technically playing through a version of the original stage. Now, I'm going off of their words, not mine, because this doesn't quite make sense to me, but apparently the reason the checkpoints are so weird is because they can only lay the checkpoint once. So they figured they lay the checkpoint after the boss so that you have to beat the boss in one go, and that way you have a good checkpoint for the first time through when you're just fighting Needleman. I don't know how much sense that makes. I'm not a designer. Or, I'm not a coder. I'm not a programmer. So, Magnet and Spark. Well, let's try Magnet. Means we're going to have to wait until he's past us to shoot him, but yeah. God damn it, that is tight timing. As usual, the hurt boxes are literally wrong. Oh my god. And we're dead. That's okay. Oh wait, maybe it's not okay. Hang on a second. Where are we at? Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, Magnet did decent damage, so we're gonna die. Refill our health, or refill our lives, rather. Yeah, we want 3 lives for every Doc Robot stage. If we can't get past the first boss on 1 life, we should probably restart on pretty much all of these. God damn it. It's the second time I made the same mistake. Whoops. Oh, whatever. By the way, someone kind of memed about this earlier, but no, really, we're going to be using Rush Jet a lot in this stage. We're not even actually at the part of the stage which really sucks yet. And if that doesn't tell you anything, I don't know what else to share about that. Damn it. Oh, whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and burn an E-tank on this. If you're paying attention, Mega Man 3 would probably be a really good game if not for the Doc Robot stages. And this is exactly why I've been dreading this one. In a nutshell. Okay. We have now earned a checkpoint. Now, those don't respawn, so we don't want to get that yet. That's there if we screw up. Because you have to have the Rush Jet for this section. We're not getting that one either. We might get one of these ones. Yeah, we'll get that one. What's funny is I discovered the fact that you don't drain energy while jumping very by accident on these things. Whoops. A little too far. There we go. Oh, that's... Okay, we're gonna blow another E-tank. There's no recovering that. Why did you spawn me on that? I hate these freaking stages so goddamn much. As with Mega Man X7, there's just no defending these stages. They're just kind of crap. They're not particularly designed, and they're just frustrating. I never feel accomplished. Like, I like good Mega Man difficulty. Anybody who knows me knows that. This is just... okay. Yeah, honestly, Mega Man 3 has a lot of jank in it because of the issues it has. Oh my god! Well, I know not to use an E-tank now. Jesus. Yeah, I saw that coming. So we have a problem now. We're really low on Rush Chat. And these things don't respawn. Get out of the way, please. Please. Please, thank you. So we have to use the jump trick at this point. Because, yeah. And I don't think we're going to make it. Nope. Not going to make it. So we are now dead. We actually cannot progress. So we have to start over from the beginning. By the way, this is probably the easiest Doc Robot stage. I'm not joking. Yeah, I always disagree with that, Dr. Winter, but then again, I always differentiate between, you know, actual difficulty and your game is not properly tested or designed. And I know not a lot of people do. Hell, some people don't even equate difficulty as anything other than how much time something takes, which always weirds me out a little bit. Yeah, the only question is how many negatives we give these things, because they're getting negatives. I disagree with that fundamentally, Dr. Winter. Something that's unfair is not difficult. It is unfair. Like, I disagree with the definition. Which is a bit of a semantics issue, I'll admit it, but still. I stand by it. Let's go and burn that. Do this because it's going to waste it otherwise. I mean, at an absolute bare minimum, we're probably giving 4 negatives, 1 for each stage, but the question is, how many do we give per stage? So you probably noticed I was deliberately leaving a lot of these the first time through. And And that's because, good duh, I knew that we were likely to have a few game overs, or a few deaths. And like I said, they don't respawn. What's really funny is I think this section could be argued to be decent. You know, it's got some thought and effort put into how the enemies interact with you. But it's not because those weapon energies don't despawn, or don't respawn. That by itself makes this section suck. By the way, fresh reminder, our only checkpoint is before that section. Who likes mini-bosses? Ironically, Rush Jet is by far the best way to do this, but there's another method we could use. Which is that. Now, I'd really like to not do that again. I'm just going to look up what this Doc Robot's weakness is. Because I don't remember. So we're just going to look that up. I do not remember. Okay, what do we got here? So this is going to be Crashman, who is weak to Hard Knuckle and Top Spin. What? Okay. Okay, sure. That's cool. I'm cool. I mean, I always said if there's one of the classic Mega Man games I'm going to cheat on, it's frickin' 9, so let's just see how this goes, shall we? Oh, I have no idea, Gingaman. I've never thought about it. We'll try Hardman first. We'll see what we do with this. I always thought it was cool seeing the bosses go into... Mega Man 9 or 10 did another take on this, which was kind of cool. That's decent damage, actually. But we gotta be right up in his face to do that. Oh, my God! Okay, so let's burn an E-Tank. Okay. Damn. Okay, let's do that. Not that we probably need it, that's just kind of the just in case. So that was the easiest Doc Robot stage. However, I think it regardless of any difficulty arguments, which really has no place here, the harsh reality is that that stage is, in my opinion, legitimately undesigned and badly designed. The fact that you can literally screw yourself completely over from the jet section based on how the jet works and the non-respawning things, and the fact that the checkpoint is right before it. I think it was 10, yeah. It's 9 or 10. I get 9 and 10 really mixed up because I only played them once and it was back-to-back. I don't actually have anything else to add to that, really. The whole stage feels like, here's some enemies and here's some instant death pits, here's a lot of damage, and then here's a refight. Admittedly, the refight against Crashman isn't all that bad. The refight against Airman has the same problem the entire rest of the game has, which is the hurt box inconsistency. It's already hard enough to dodge Airman's Cyclones in 2, and even then you have to be very precise to dodge some of his patterns. It's actually legitimately very difficult to dodge some of his. But it's okay, we're not giving a negative to Doc Robot yet, because we haven't fought Woodman Doc Robot yet, who is getting a negative, by the way. Let's just get that out of the way. That's happening. So... let's give a negative. I think the biggest flaw is the lack of respawning in that pit section. If it wasn't for that major flaw, I think this stage would simply be passable and not very well designed. It would probably not be a negative, but I think that pushes it over the line because it's not a very good stage to begin with, right? So... yeah, the rest of the stage, I'd be willing to give a wash if not for that pit section. I would. Yes, those of you who've played this game, you know what I mean when I say copy Woodman or Doc Robot Woodman. That fight is bullcrap. But yeah, negative to gameplay. Doc Robot. Needleman. Who next? Who should we do next? Because all the other three ones suck. Like, that was the easy one. That was the one that was the least likely to be a negative. Okay, Shadow Man. Like I said earlier, I have some bad memories of this screen. You notice the spikes immediately? Just giving you an idea of what you're in for here. Just spikes. Spikes. Alright, we're not done with spikes. We got more spikes coming. What, I'm one shot away? I was literally one shot away. So these platforms are this. They're the things from Bubble Man stage all over again. With about the same timing, actually. You have frames to make those jumps happen. And if you were off-center like I was there, you're dead. By the way, we're back at the beginning of the stage. Now, you can rush jet through this. And there's no shame in that, obviously. Well, Inafune himself has said multiple times the main reason he doesn't like 3 is because it's unfinished. So, yes. That could be a Delbach. I'm not sure. So, there's a few... So, I've done a lot of the Mega Man challenges in the collection. And one of the challenges is to go through this section very quickly. And so, I've gotten very used to the timing on these things. But it is just, if you are off-tempo, you're dead. You have to get as far to the right with each jump. Otherwise, you simply cannot make the next jump. It's just not going to happen. So, first boss. Oh, I know. Gingaman. Oh, Powered Up 3 would have been awesome! Like, Powered Up 2 would be legit, but Powered Up 3? Like, 2's a great game now. 3, if they fixed the issues... Okay. Woodman! Hey! Hey! Okay, so hold on. What are you weak to? What are you weak to, Woodman? You are weak to Needle, Cannon, and Search Snake. Okay, we'll go with Needle on this one. So, I'm going to explain... Hang on. I'm going to actually hit a save, because I want to show off how screwed up this fight is. So, you see that shield? You notice how it hit me, even though I was jumping at the right angle to get over Woodman's shield? They enlarged it. I know that's not proper English, I don't care. They made it bigger. It is actually possible. Sorry, let's go ahead and reset, because I was just showing it off. It is actually possible to jump over it. It is actually pixel perfect. Oh, I actually made it that time. Let's burn an E-Tank. So, if it's not obvious, that fight is various levels of bullcrap. It is. I'm sorry. It's actually unfair, because what they did, so they were like, okay, Leaf Shield. But wait a minute. Dockman is actually too big. Let's increase the size of the shield to make fun. And they never did any play testing to figure out if making the shield bigger in order to accommodate the larger sprite had any problems in the gameplay side of things. Literally untested. Literally incorrect in terms of design. I have almost no doubt that if they had actually gone back through and actually, looked at that, they were like, oh, shoot, that can't work. And they would have done something to accommodate that. So for that reason alone, I think that the Woodman Dock Robot deserves a negative. We might just add that into a negative for all the Dock Robots, because, again, most of this section of the game was legitimately not tested and legitimately not designed. By the way, the Dock Robot stuff was done last. They did the 8, and you can kind of tell. And then they did the Wily stages, and you can kind of tell. And then they were running really out of time, and they started working on the Dock Robot stages. And remember, there were supposed to be 8 Dock Robot stages originally, and they smashed it down into 4 instead. Yeah, you could tell they were done last. I agree completely. A very good bad game. I mean, possibly, Mr. You're right, we do need a term for that. I have no idea, Zach Teft. I don't have any idea what he would have done there other than peaced out. Like, oh, I'm not dealing with this mess. Well, I mean, maybe. Because those are good weapons, and we gave those weapons a plus, so that would probably be a plus. There we go. Sorry, I actually forgot to add the hitbox inconsistency negative there. So there we go. Negative to Dock Robot. Now, I will agree with something I think it was Dr. Winter said in chat. The thing that mitigates those platforms I just went through, the only thing that mitigates them, is the fact that they are... Dang it. Oh, come on! Is the fact that they come back, unlike the Bubble Man stage things where if you miss a jump, you are dead, the end. Here, you actually do have a chance to recover. It's not a good chance, but it is a possibility. Then we have this section. This section can go to hell. Hard to hit enemies, hard to dodge enemies, over pits. That's what it is. So, admission time. How many of you have played Mega Man 3 on the NES? I should raise my hand, but I'm kind of busy right now. Trying to fight an enemy I literally can't dodge. How many of you did the second controller trick? Now, I'm going to go and be honest. To my memory, I only beat several of these stages, including both the Shadow Man and the Gemini Man Dock Robot stages, once without the second controller trick. You're probably wondering, what's the second controller trick? So, if you held down, I think it was left or B on the second controller, what would happen is it would lock your character so you can't die. And it would change your jump, so your jump would be, like, really high. So you could jump into a pit, die, the music would stop, but you're still playable, and you just jump through invincible until you get to the end of the stage. There's other things you could do with it, actually. I didn't know about that back in the day, but that was the one trick I knew about. Now, you're probably thinking, that's a weird bug. No, that was actually part of the dev kit. Developers usually specifically put cheats in their game to allow them to get to certain sequences quickly to test them. They just never removed that particular developer cheat from Mega Man 3. Whoops, I meant to... I guess we'll do Needle for this, because... And like I said, there was a few you could... Jeez. I'll take that hit. There's a few things you could do with that. There's actually like 3, I think, total things you could do with the second controller. So, okay. Who's our next one? I'm just looking this up. We're not messing with this. So Shadow Man 2 is Heat Man, who is weak to Top Spin, You're on Crack, or Shadow Blade. We'll do Shadow Blade. I am not doing Top Spin on the Heat Man equivalent. By the way, one of the reasons I've been going out of my way to, you know, get those E-tanks this whole time is specifically for these stages. Hang on, I need to check something. Oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot, no! Now the funny thing is, you notice I didn't mention Sparkman stage. That's because those developer cheats don't actually work when it comes to Sparkman stage, as we'll talk about when we get there. God, that hurts hard. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. Let's go and do this. Completely off tempo. Oh my god. I can't recover. But we still got him. Jesus Christ. Okay. His timing is completely different than Heatman's, obviously. So, we now have Gemini Man and Sparkman. Gemini, okay, we're saving the worst for last. Got it. Oh, we need... Sorry, hang on. We need to judge the stage we just went through. In all honesty, Shadow Man's stage is probably one of the more designed of the Doc Robot stages. It's hard, but at least there's actual thought put into the difficulty you're going through, right? So it's like, okay, fine. And it doesn't have some of the literal screw you crap like Needleman does, or one that's coming up does. Oh, excuse me. That being said, I'm running through it in my head really quick here. No, Castor and Pollux are actually one person, aren't I? I'm willing to give the refight for Shadow Man a wash. What are we thinking? I mean, the Woodman fight gets a negative, absolutely. But I mean, the stage, I'm willing to give a bit of a wash, because I think it doesn't do that much wrong. And it seems more designed than the other four. Or the other three, excuse me. Yeah, I'm going to call that a wash. We give a negative for the Woodman fight because it was literally untested. Gemini Man, okay. What I might end up doing, depending on how Gemini Man and Sparkman line up, we might end up giving a negative to the Doc Robot stages for literally being untested and unfinished. Just a, this is beta content negative, you know? That kind of a thing. I hope you like Bottomless Pits, by the way. This is why that particular trick was so useful for this stage. We don't have that trick, so we're gonna lean on something else a little bit here and just kind of nope our way out of this nonsense. Just nope, 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 nope. Nope. We're just noping right out of that. This is my favorite thing. You can kind of get stuck here. You actually have to clear a little bit in order to progress with this one, unlike the previous one. And if you clear too far down, well, there's insta-kill death spikes, because screw you. First boss. As usual, just gonna look this up. Although, we don't have many lives. This one's gonna be Flashman, who is weak to Needle or Gemini. We'll use Gemini. We need to show off just how bad Gemini is. Let's do that. Let's do it. This is gonna be great. Especially in this room. I cannot believe that hit him. I cannot believe that hit him. That was pure luck. Wow. I mean, I totally did that on purpose, and I'm just that good at this game, you guys. I'm so good at video games that I knew. So you like Rush Marine, right? Me neither. By the way, you can go underwater with Rush Jet. Just to really emphasize how silly that is. We're gonna burn on last D-Tank. I don't want to lose progress, because... Oh, wow, I actually dodged that. These are interesting enemies, by the way. They're kind of cool in the fact that they always seek downwards. They're effectively the same type of thing as that spider boss back in X1. Every time they hit a time when they can turn, they have to, and they always go down when they can't turn. Okay. So, Gemini Man stage, again, kind of a wash. Honestly, there's not really much that's great here, but not much that's terrible here. So I'm kind of okay with calling this one a wash, too. What are our thoughts on Gemini Man stage? Gemini 2. This is Bubble Man. Notice the spikes are back. He's weak to... What are you weak to? Shadow Blade. Yeah, sure, that's going to work out. I'm actually okay with giving a plus to this one. It's probably... I take it back. It's probably one of the better designed ones that we've seen. So, plus or wash? What are we thinking? And we need to get that positivity out there. We need to do that because we've got Sparkman coming up. Just making sure. It looks like we have no desync in audio, by the way, so it looks like it's just something exclusive to the Switch version, which sucks. That's true, Telbuck. That is true. I'm willing to give that a plus. I'm talking myself out of it. I like the idea of giving a plus to that. That stage was nowhere near as bad as I remembered it being. Granted, that's because I leaned heavily on Rush Jet, but I stand by it. That stage was at least designed, so sure. Duck, Robot, Gemini Man. I have many memories of dying horribly to the Flashman refight, and what he does, it's funny. He homes in on you constantly, right? So once you die, you're technically still there. It's just you don't have a collision or you're not visible. So he just kind of does this back and forth as he's trying to get you, like, I'm gonna get you. Just back and forth vibrating. It's really funny to watch. Anyways. So yeah, I'm willing to do it. Let's do it. Plus to gameplay, because I'm gonna laugh if Sparkman is nowhere near as bad as I remember. I just have so many bad memories of this stage right here. Like, Needleman has some bullcrap. But this stage... I hope you like spikes. Just spikes. Now, these are kind of a cool idea, actually. These platforms. They have a bit of a grip to them, which kind of changes how you jump on them. And, of course, they move, so you got to kind of move as you're going through them. I mean, neither Vandalia, it's not a story plot. That's kind of the problem. But, if they did something with it, sure, it could be positive, which, of course, they didn't. I was telling Pax about this just last night. I'm curious how Mega Man 3 is going to rate for the Doc Robot stages, because I am actually better at video games than I was as a kid. You know, I've spent a lot of time practicing and a lot of time trying to be good at video games, so it's not like the old days where I would just play for an hour after school and then go off and do other things, you know. So this guy is weak to Magnet Missile, and that is exactly what we will use. And there come the lawn mowing guys, so I'm going to mute myself for a minute. I mean, at least Metal Man being weak to Magnet Man makes a degree of sense. So that was actually pretty close, because the Metal Blades, as usual, don't have the right hitbox, or hurtbox, or whatever. So, you know, that's cute. You like spikes, right? You like spikes, right? You remember that screen I told you about? This is it. And then I think we're okay. Now, that's the mid-mission checkpoint right there, the screen we just hit. I already told you this, but this is important to note. Because if you manage to get through this stage and fight the boss of Metal Man, and then die on those spikes, you have to start from the beginning of the stage. For that reason alone, I would like to argue at least an aggregate negative for this freaking stage. That stage was way easier than I remember. I think the biggest aggravation I had is doing the whole first section over again because of that bad mid-mission checkpoint. I'm actually surprised by how easy that was. Now, I say that, how many lives do I have right now? I have 1 life. Yeah, that was just weird. Whatever. So we'll go ahead and jot down just an aggregate negative and nothing else for checkpoint position. We might not even finish this out because I don't have another aggregate negative. Like, I am better at games than I used to be. That is just a truth. That's not bragging. I've spent more time practicing. You know? No, what I mean is I was always pathetic and terrible. Alright, so we're building an aggregate here. We haven't actually built it yet. Let's see if we get on the whatever. Up to... Hang on. Looking at my notes here. I knew it, Muad'Dib! That's why your name's Muad'Dib. You know, you don't kill, people, you just kill their morale. Okay, so our final Doc Robot, who is Quickman, I think? Yep, is weak to Gemini Laser, no, and Search Snake, so we're going to use Search Snake on that. Now, we're very likely to die here, but we've got 1 more life to get through this. Okay, I didn't think he hit that hard. That's impressive. Okay. We have no E-tanks left. God, he does so much collision damage! Oh my god, are you seeing that? Nope. Nope. Oh my god. I actually think he caught me, but by luck, by sheer luck, what he did was he threw out a boomerang, which does, like, 2 or 4 damage, as opposed to collision, which does 16 damage. So it's time to fight Breakman. The final showdown with someone who, again, was not supposed to be Blues. It's just a reskin because they ran out of time, and then they were like, yeah, no, it was totally always supposed to be Blues. And we're done. Oh no! Right after... Sorry, let me do the proper Mega Man 8, but... Oh no, right after we received the last thing, Wily ran off with Gamma. We also spell it wrong here. Recover all the enemy immediately, Mega Man. And yeah, IBN, One of my favorite looking Skull Castles. So, shoot, hang on. This is going to look like cheating, but I swear I just want to show something off really quick. Do you see that stage thing? You see the map? How it goes up and left? You may notice that this stage goes right and down. If you don't understand the significance of that, this is the best and most obvious existing example of the fact that they had to cut so much content from this game. Because remember, the map layout is supposed to follow the actual stage layout, just like it did in 2, and it does in every other Mega Man game after this. But here, the map layout is completely different than the actual stages we get, because they just completely ran out of time, and they were like, okay, we need to finish the Wily stages, because we still need to get to the Doc Robot stages, so they smashed these stages together. So we might actually not give a visual continuity plus for this. We'll debate that. But it certainly doesn't get it the same way 2 did. Now, I'm going to deliberately die. As soon as I find something that can kill me in longer than a few minutes. I'll go and grab that. There we go. Death. Super dead. I'm turbo dead. This game's just too hard. What? We have to do the cutscene again? Right after we receive the last element. Sorry, he calls it element in the English version. Instead of energy crystals or whatever. Wily ran off with Gamma. Who's Gamma? What the heck is a Gamma? I apparently can't skip this. Interesting. Yeah, let's go up and left, shall we? Okay, so. No, Zach Teft. If it was this morning, I generally don't have time to check Discord in the mornings, except for like a quick glance. When I'm in bed. By the way, part of the reason the Wily stages are easier is because they are absolutely littered with power-ups, including E-tanks and lives, which is weird in its own right. Here's the other, one of the 3 sections where we can use the Rush Marine, by the way. And we're past it. By the way, I love this song. Oh yeah, you like Crash Man, right? I like Crash Man. So did they. So we're kind of coming into this sewer-looking section. Okay, not quite what I was expecting when I go up and to the left. Okay. I think it's worth it. Up. There we go. Whoops. Notice we haven't had many enemies yet. In fact, we've only had 2 types of enemies. Now we're up to 3. I'm not bashing the Wily stages, I'm just commenting on how differently designed they are after the Doc Robot stages. Which, again, makes sense when you think about it from a real-life perspective, but imagine being a kid for a moment and going through this like, what is this? This is just so much easier. Here's one of the only good uses of... Never mind, they're immune to that. There are no good uses. Everything is worthless forever. Huh, okay, that's interesting. Anyways. Oops. I said that earlier, Dr. Winter. We know with total certainty that the Wily stages were made before the Doc Robot stages. Yeah, I'm not messing with this nonsense. Just all kinds of no. I could use that health up, though. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go up here. Chill for a minute. Grab the health. Just watching the pattern for a moment. Don't mind me. And we're done. Shadow Blade, I think, for this one. But what I really want to get is some Rush Coil, because we're going to need this in a bit, so let's refill that a little. There we go. This is a weird boss. Now, this boss looks easy, and it is, let's be clear, but it's one of those, the longer you take to kill it, the harder the boss gets kind of situations. If you fall behind, it starts to suck a little bit. But yes, that's the which is shooting at me. Okay, so now we go straight up. Now, this is actually funny, because we do actually go up here. You like these kind of jumps, right? Oh, sorry, I should ask you left or right, but whatever. Left to right, left to right. Okay, left it is. Whoop. I swear I've played Mega Man games before. I'm not sure. I think I've played Mega Man's game. I'm not sure. Hang on, let me double check. Have I played a Mega Man game before? There we go. Mega Man game played. But yeah, Wily 1 is just kind of weird. It's another one of those there's nothing wrong with it situations, but I can't really bring myself to give it a positive. This is a little bit more interesting. This is effectively a Hardman remake right here. Hang on, let's just do that. Same types of enemies, same types of obstacles, same type of terrain usage, just more and worse. Let's go ahead and refill our jet. Why? Well, because we actually need Rush Jet for this section. No, really, need. Now, the boss of this area, well, he's a little infamous. Well, if you remember, well, you know what we're in for. If you don't remember, or you've never played this game, well, let's just say we've already fought this guy yesterday. A little lower. There we go. So, really short stage. Relatively simple. Requires the Rush Jet, but otherwise not much to it. Not that terrible. There's also no checkpoints on this stage. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Which is important, because this guy kind of sucks. There is actually a trick to kill him quickly. I've never done it. I've never succeeded at it. It's the only challenge on the collection edition that I don't have gold for, because you need to do that trick in order to defeat him that quickly. What you have to do is you have to take damage in a very specific way to get in his hurt box without dying. It's harder to do than it sounds. And then you have to shoot up with Shadow Blade very, 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 very quickly before he kills you. And you can kill him in about 30 seconds that way. I've never pulled that trick off. I will say, at least unlike the first Yellow Devil, there's at least some variety to him. He doesn't instantly shoot you when his eye opens up. He does have the second type of attack, which just is actually easier to dodge, believe it or not. As long as you slide. And you'll notice there's slightly more room between the left and the right. In short, I think this is probably one of the better Yellow Devil fights. I'm not saying it's positive-worthy, but I don't think it deserves a negative like the first one did. My opinion. That being said, the total lack of checkpoint on that level is weird. Now we go up and left. If you're paying attention, the last stage we went up and right. Oh yeah. This is the third and final, my favorite song of the game. If you haven't heard Smooth McGrew's version of this song, you owe it to yourself to look it up, by the way. I love the tone of this song. I love the implications of this song. I love the fact that this is one of the final dungeon songs. Oh, I love this song so much. Sometimes I get people asking... I've actually had someone, I'm not going to name him, ask me, why would you insist on using 8-bit music for something? I'm like, you realize 8-bit music can also have... good to it, right? Like, it can have tones and feeling and vibe and emotions. They're like, no, it can't. And I listed a few songs, and this is actually one of the ones that I used in order to try and make my point. There we go. Sorry, I couldn't remember the terrain. That's on me. I literally couldn't remember where I was. Okay. Yeah, let's go for that. Let's go for that. Notice we're going down, not up and to the left. I hate to keep pointing that out, but, This screen looks rough. It's actually not. Now I'm going to die, having said that, but this one's a little meaner. Still the same pace and general pattern, though. Up one, done. So I just want to enjoy the music for just a little bit longer. Love this song. So, I don't actually remember what they're weak to. Does anyone remember what these guys are weak to? I actually don't remember. I guess I'll just Google it. What we got here? Hang on, what are you weak to? Let's look up bosses. Here we go, bosses. The holographic Mega Mans. They're weak to top spin. Oops. Wow, I got extremely lucky there. So, if you don't understand that, apparently you can one-shot him with topspin, holy crap. So, the way this works out... okay, I mentioned I got lucky. By the way, another excellent song. Of the three that spawn, only one can be damaged. Now, the top one is always the real one. That's why I went straight for the top one. But after that, it's random which one can be damaged. The other three are just fakes and don't actually take damage. So I just got extremely lucky in getting the top one, and then the middle one, which happened to be where I was at. I feel like I want to give a plus for the stage we just did. It's a fun stage. It's not great, but it is fun. It is interesting, and I do like what they do with it. So I'm going to give a plus to that. That was, what, Wily 3, I think? Yes, that was Wily 3. I mean, this is the stuff I've actually practiced, Melkor played. I remember the Wily stages a lot better than the Doc Robot stages. Holy crap. Oh, yeah. We need to decide if we're giving a negative to Wily 2. That's the fight with the Yellow Devil. It is specifically for the checkpoint thing. I actually think that stage does nothing wrong, except for two things. There are two things that stage does wrong. One is it is mandatory in order to use the rush jet to progress, and the other is that the energy things do not respawn. Oh, and the third thing is the fact that it has the checkpoint. There is no checkpoint. There's no checkpoint at all. You just do the whole stage all over again. What are we thinking? We could also say it's an aggregate, because it's a very short stage. That's not a bad idea, because we do have an aggregate we're currently building. Hi, Richard. Let's... You know what? That's actually a better idea. Rather than building an aggregate, let's just turn this negative into checkpoint placement. That's a good idea. No, there isn't, Vandal. If you die to the Yellow Devil Mark II, you go all the way back. What are we up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Okay. Now, I've been thinking about this a little bit, and we didn't give as many negatives as I thought we would, Richard. But we didn't give much in the way of positives either. Go ahead and grab this. Yeah. So here's Junkman. Honestly, I was too. It's a load, so who knew? Alright, now for the most terrifyingly difficult boss in the entire game. The boss refights! We've actually already given this negative, so it's just whatever. Of course I do Needleman first. Well, let's show off how Gemini Laser can work for this fight. Ah, I got lucky on that. I mean, totally intentional. That's absolutely what happened. We did give a plus to Rush. He is the bestest dog. So we actually have his weakness this time, so we can show that off a little bit. Yeah, the little exit sign is going to need touch. Speaking of which, the doodad utilization in 3 is much better. We're probably going to give 3 the doodad utilization. Whatever, fine. Whoa! I died, holy crap. No pluses for music. It's the worst music of the whole franchise. I can't believe anybody even listens to this drivel. I spit upon it. So anyways, I'd like to argue a third positive for music. And I mean that. I'm not actually memeing. Of all of the Mega Man games, there are only a few I would argue a third positive for music, and this is one of them. You went to Maggot, I think. Yeah. I'm debating Zalok. Yes, Loner. I mean, I didn't game over, so, yeah. See, invincible while spinning. Actually, screw that up. It's possible to kill him very quickly. There's actually one more song we haven't listened to yet. It's the final stage song. Oh right, duh. I would agree. Mega Man 3 is music I will absolutely listen to just on its own. Oh, come on. Whatever. Notice they're back to actually retracing the boss's arenas, by the way, which they'll be doing henceforth. Wow. I was about to say he didn't attack me once. He literally attacked me once. So as the boss refights, smashy smashy. No, I've already done that. In fact, I did that earlier. At least with some of them. Let's look up something. I think Zalok is on complete crack, so let's look stuff up, shall we? We're gonna have to do this the slow man way, but that's okay. We can do this. Yes, slow man, it's a new boss. He's kind of easy. Got a high defense, though. Excuse me. Where's your damage chart? There we go. 742. 77422. 54222. That's a weird one. And then we have 440000. That's funny. And we have 7422. And you're 44. So we got a lot of 7-4s and a lot of 4-4s and a whole bunch of 2s. Sparkman as weak to himself. I didn't actually know that. Like super, super, super weak to himself. He takes 14 damage from his own weapon. That's 14 pips on this. It's like this chunk. It's huge. And then 744. All right. I'm willing to give it Zalok. Sure. I think that's, having actually gone through the numbers, I think that's a sufficient spread to warrant a positive. So, I'm with it. All right. We're definitely giving the doodad thing. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, Vendalia. Here, hang on. Check it. Let me save really quick here. And then quit the game. Check this out. So we got... Hang on. So, like, those turtle things we were fighting are called Kamagoros. And that's the Kamagoro Maker. Yellow Devil Mark II, of course. Then we have, like, we were fighting... what were we fighting earlier? Those are Potons. Those are Pen-Pens. These are Peterkeys. Peterkeys? I don't know. Boo-Boo-Con. Pickleman. Pickleman Bull, I should say, more clearly. Big Snaky. Bicky. Harry. Periusu. Have-Su-Be. New Shotman. I just, like, some of these names are just, what? That guy's name is da-da! And, of course, the Junk Golem, we actually talked about him a moment ago. Anyways. I need top spin. So, that's the refights. Now we go left. Speaking of which, we did have one last song, and this is it, and it's an awesome song. I'm gonna get one refill of that. And gamble on nothing. Okay, whatever. I don't actually remember what this guy's weak to. I don't remember what he's weak to. Hang on. Let's look it up super quick, because I already got it up here. Okay. Yeah, okay. This one kind of sucks. He's weak to hard. Damn it. Well, actually, there's a way to kill this guy very quickly. I should show that off at least once. Actually, we could use the hard here. He's not actually weak to Shadow Blades, but you can shoot up with Shadow Blades. Well, alright, Wily. Oh my god! Wily was a robot all along! No, it's even worse than that. It's time for the final boss. Here's a bunch of power-ups because we didn't have time to make a stage. Let's grab that. And we'll leave the rest for now. Time to fight the peacekeeping robot. Gamma! I don't know why there's a head in its head. Don't ask me. I'm not the person who designs these things, okay? Whoop. Ah, shoot. Not the first time I've screwed that up. There we go. You know what, fine. Listen, nobody likes Guts, man. Except for everyone who makes these games. Oh, wow. Hang on. Oh, it is Hard Knuckle. My bad. It's the second one that's Surge Snake. Or the worst weapon in the game. Well, the good news is I'm completely out of hard, man. So that's cool. It's okay. Surely one of these weapons will damage him. Surely one of these weapons will damage him. Oh my god, it was Dr. Wily all along! And time. As usual, the boss is always weak. The final boss is always weak to the worst weapon in the game. That's going to be a trend for quite a few games. Oh no, the castle's falling apart for absolutely no reason. Oh no, Wily's dead! Oh no, Rock's dead! Oh no, Blue saved us. Where's Dr. Wily? Oh no, too late. Epilogue. Mega Man, you've regained consciousness as a robot. I found you lying here when I arrived. Because you can one-shot him with Top Man, Caspian. Wonder who brought you here. Wait a second. This whistle. It must have been Proto Man. I'd love to tell you about who that is since I helped build him, but I won't, of course. Atomic Energy Controller, Electman. Waste Disposal Robot, Fireman. We'll find out in a second, Gingaman. Ground Disruption Robot, Bomb Man. Iceman, the Antarctic Investigation Robot. Gutsman, number 4, Wilderness Reclamation Robot. Cutman was first, then, Timber Felling Robot. You were wrong, Gingaman! Roll was number 2, of course, the Housekeeping Bot. And Mega Man, former assistant to Dr. Wright. Number 0, new prototype brother of Mega Man. But Brock doesn't know that, of course. Oh, and don't worry, Dr. Wily survived. He's in the trees. They didn't do the transparency correct on Dr. Wily's thing, so it looks like he goes and hides in the tree. It's just weird. And that's Mega Man 3. I'm gonna go and be honest, that was actually better than I was expecting. I was expecting walking into this and finding it to be an irritating, frustrating mess. And Lord knows that this game does have problems. Oh, excuse me, I would say this game has more problems than Mega Man 2. Because it was a rushed, unfinished, buggy game. Like, that is the reason. This is the biggest reason why Powered Up 3 would be so much better than Powered Up 2. Polishing something that's great is always nice. Oh, why does that pause the damn game? Whatever. But if polishing up something that was bad, oh, this could easily be the best in the franchise in a Powered Up 3, and whatever. That's what can I say at this point other than whatever. What's funny is the games are going to start getting actually hard after this one, so that should be fun. Hang on, Vandalia. Hang on, we gotta do the audit. We gotta look through it. You know what's funny? Is I think that analogy doesn't apply here, personally. But that's just me. So let's look up Mega Man. I didn't have time to check on Mega Man 11. I didn't have any time yesterday. Smashing through these so quickly that my time, ironically, has been very limited right now. There we go. Okay. So, for animation to story, no. Atmosphere, no. Babylon 5 effect, no. Background lore, no. Banter, low, no. Branching narrative, no. Camera work, no. Characters, ha! No cinematics, no consequence storytelling, no cutscene incompetence, barely any dialogue. Doodads, yes. There is doodads. Empty text, no. Endgame, no. External continuity. No. Fake drama, no. Foreshadowing, no. Humor, no. Internal continuity, no. Intro, non-existent. There's literally no intro in this one, which is a damn shame. I think it would be really cool if we got one. Lighting, no. Localization is bad, but not derogatory. Missions, no. Moments, no. Music direction, no. Outro. Outro is ending. They absolutely do not, Dr. Winter. Stuff that is not in the game is not in the game. And in highlights or Chekhov's guns that remain unfired do not add to the narrative. In fact, in general, they detract from it. Yeah, this is another one of those simple endings that I'm still kind of in favor of. You know, we have the final fight against Gamma, which is actually pretty easy. And then we have... You're funny as a loke. No. Oh, gotcha, Dr. Winter. I will think about that. No, I don't own an Xbox. We are playing these on either the Switch or the PC, depending on which thing we're trying tech-wise. Speaking of which, I haven't noticed any audio desync, but I also haven't been testing that. So I should test that in a minute. We go fight Gamma. Place starts falling apart. Blues comes out, breaks us out, rescues us. And then we hear the strange whistle, and we see the original 8 robots, which include Roll and ourselves. And then we have the thing. I don't know, No, this isn't... You can tell just by looking, Richard. This is the collection. It literally is the collection. I don't understand your question. You can buy the Mega Man collection on the PC. It's on Steam. No, I agree, Zalok. And like I've said before, when we get to Super Mario Bros. 3, that's probably getting a positive to outro. In fact, so is Super Mario Bros. 2, for that matter. They're simple, but there's good stuff there. I'm not sure what I think of this outro. I feel like it's kind of lacking in the same impact that it had in 2. But I'd be willing to be talked up to a positive. So I'm gonna put that into your guys' court. You decide on that one. Plot, there is no plot. No Princess Peach section, no sound design for that, no story sequencing, no storyboarding, no story mechanics, no themes. Unfortunately, no visual continuity. There is visual storytelling, of course. Some good visual storytelling. No voices, no world building, no writing. So it's just the outro. That's all we got. Yes, the outro is the first revelation of Proto Man. It's actually the first time he's named, I believe. And the revelation of his connection as the Robot 00, the prototype Androbot. It introduces a character who... So, this isn't good or bad for Mega Man 3. But one thing that's always irritated me about this is they introduce Proto Man, and they will never do anything with him. This drives me batty. They never do anything with Proto Man, the entire franchise. He's just there and cool and mysterious, and then he just stays in the back, and that's it. And each game he shows up and he's cool and he's mysterious, and that's his character. That's it. He's whatever. Anyways, I guess that's not true because we do have Mega Man 5 to discuss Proto Man, but even there, I'm not sure that qualifies as doing anything with Proto Man, to be completely honest. But anyways, I'm willing to call the outro a wash. It's good enough to not be a negative. Moving on. So that leaves us with a +2 to story. That's decent for a Mega Man game. You know what? That's nothing to complain about. Speaking of which, we'll just call it 3 Dead. No cheats, by the way. I beat Mega Man 3 with no cheats. I am actually pretty happy about that. I was worried about those Doc Robots. Okay, gameplay. So hang on. So we've got... Give me a moment. I want to make sure we get everything in here that we've already put. Nobody wanted to argue me down from 3 music positives. And it's pretty rare I give a game 3 music positives in the gameplay axis. In fact, I think we've only done that like 4 times total. We did give one to Mega Man X1, which deserved it. We did give that to Kingdom Hearts 3. And several Final Fantasies, which deserved it. I don't even need to name those. We gave it to Celeste, which I don't even need to explain. We gave it to Shovel Knight. Yep, nope, that tracks. We gave it to Red Dead Redemption 2, which is also true. We gave it Mario Odyssey, and we gave it to Yakuza 0. See, I stand out by that, and I absolutely put this game up with the ones I just mentioned in terms of music. So, yes, absolutely, 3 positives to music. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, so the animations are quite good. We'll go ahead and put that down. What else do we do? Brickwork. Yep, we actually had good brickwork, which actually goes into graphics alongside sprite work. So we're just going to give those 2. From here until 6, the graphics of these games are going to be pretty legit. We're probably going to give 2 pluses to 4 and 5 and 6 for sprite work. They do some really good stuff here. Enemy variety. Yep, good enemy variety. Absolutely. We got that. Let's see here. Save feature, rewind. That's the quality of life stuff that the collection adds. I can find it. There we go. Quality of life. And then save system. Yep. Rewind system. Yep. Okay. Boss. 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 So 3 boss pluses. I would agree with that, actually, as well. I mean, hell, Mega Man 6 with the armors is pretty cool, too. And then, how many stages got a plus? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 stage pluses. Pretty good. Looking at my notes to make sure we got everything. Okay, so negatives. We got to jot down our negatives first. So we had bugs, which, yeah. Nothing else for that. Put that there for the refights. This game is pretty buggy. Like, actually buggy. In fact, we're going to put 2 negatives there for the hitbox things. Weapons! It's rare we give a kit negative to a Mega Man game, but these weapons suck. These are actually some of the worst weapons in the entire franchise. 1 stage and 1 boss, looks like, for the Doc Robot stuff. Just, yeah. And checkpoints. I knew there was another one. Okay, so now we actually do the hunt. Now that we've got everything that is already there, let's put in what isn't. I agree, silly idea. Funny thing, I didn't mention this, but Akira Kitamura, who was the director for Mega Man 2, and who left, while they were making Mega Man 3. When he was leaving, Inafune was like, "Oh God, do you have any advice?" Because Inafune had never directed a game before. And by the way he tells this story, he was probably looking for advice on how to direct a game. Instead, what Kitamura said was, "Make the items into a dog." So we can kind of credit him for not only, creating several aspects of the Mega Man series and directing Mega Man 2, but also effectively inventing Rush. Anyway, so, okay. We've got animations, audio spam. Nope, that's not an issue. Doesn't exist, doesn't exist, doesn't exist, doesn't exist, doesn't exist. No built-in cheats. Camera is irrelevant. No choices, no co-op. Controls. What do we think about the controls? Because it is literally, like I said earlier, there's some inaccuracies and some jank with the controls in 3 because of the unfinished, unpolished problem and the issue with the slide, which I already mentioned. I can only slide. I'm not sure I would give a full negative for controls. Because, yeah, we've already given a negative for the various unfinishedness and bugs, which is part of the control issues. But I don't think we're going to give a positive for controls, because this one kind of controls weird and janky and wrong. So, moving on. Difficulty curve. Negative, absolutely. Again, it's the same problem we usually give for difficulty curves, because the difficulty for this game is absolutely all over the place. It's just insane how bonkers it does this when you're going through the game. Yeah, Doc Robot again. Okay, moving on. We don't have durability. We don't have encounters. We did give enemy variety, absolutely. Let's see, there's no fast travel. We did give graphics because they're legit. There's no leveling. There's no that. There's no HUD. No, none of this, none of this, none of this. There is no intro. Itemization. I'm willing to give the itemization positive. In addition to the fact that the enemies drop decent stuff, there's actually pretty good itemization in terms of what drops where in the actual stages. Kit. Whoops, that's on me. I was going to say, we gave a plus to Kit. We did, for Rush. So I guess that's actually it. Yeah, itemization in the Wily stages is actually really well designed, which is funny in its own right. Especially given how bad it is in the Doc Robot stages. Lighting, leveling, log. There's no map. Right. Mission checkpointing, we already commented on that. Just as a mod support. What's our Mega Man 3 mod support? There's no New Game Plus, there's no options. Outro. So, final boss fight and the final stage, which is actually pretty threadbare. Because the final stage is literally a room with a bunch of power-ups. Um, the final boss fight is interesting, because I kind of made a mess of him, but that's mostly because I actually knew what I was doing. The final boss fight is interesting, though, because I don't think he's particularly good. His first form just shoots a couple things to the right, and then shoots down if you're below him, and that's it. That's all he does. The second form is a lot more tricky and has the fist come in, and he's got the extra attack, which he didn't even do on our playthrough because I one-shot him. But I don't think this is a particularly good outro overall. I think the Gamma fight is... I mean, the whole point is that Gamma is unfinished. That's why he can only attack you with one hand. By the way, that's the canon explanation for that. And there is no final stage. It would be easy to argue me into a negative for outro, because remember, simply being a decent stage or a decent fight is not enough for an intro or an outro. I am much harsher on both than usual. And I feel like this outro is lacking, and I'm talking myself into a negative. So, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. One of my strongest memories of the Gamma fight is the very first time I ever fought him. What I did is I got up on the right platform that's there. And I'm like, okay, I got to defeat this guy. And I'm like, remember, you watched me do this. I did this on camera. There's only two weapons that actually hurt him. The Shadow Blade and the hammer, right? So it's like, okay, that's cool. The problem is, he can't actually hit you while you're up there. So I remember getting up there and being like, oh my god, it's the final boss. And he can't hit me. So I'm just standing there like, I was playing it with my friend. We were playing, sitting in the living room together, like, okay, hang on. No, that doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. What the hell? And we were just sitting there, and it was just this sense of deflation. Because it didn't feel like a final boss. It felt like we were stuck, like we thought we'd done something wrong. It's like, what the hell? Anyway, yeah, very anticlimactic. Now, actually, Richard brings up a good point. As much as I absolutely gave a negative to the Yellow Devil in 1, and I stand by that, I do think this is a substantially better designed Yellow Devil fight. The more room to navigate, so it's not as punishing on the timing, and you have more chances to dodge. He has multiple attacks, so he's not extremely boring like the first boss was. He doesn't immediately shoot you and only once and have a narrow attack window, so his attack window is broadened. He opens his eye, shoots you, and then shoots you, and then shoots you. In other words, they basically took everything that was wrong with the Yellow Devil fight in 1 and polished it a little bit. So I'm actually willing to give a plus to the Yellow Devil in this one. And yeah, he has. You said that earlier, so look, he actually has straight up tells, as opposed to instead of just whonk, you can actually see there's a moment. You get like half a second of this shot is about to be coming here, this shot is about to be coming here, this one's coming to be here, etc., etc. So yeah, plus the Yellow Devil, absolutely. Let's do it. Okay, and so that leaves us with speech, quality of life features, which we gave. Replayability for Mega Man 3. I'm pretty inclined to give the replayability plus to Mega Man 3. Because duh. As with Mega Man 2, however, I don't think any additional mechanics incline one to replaying this other than just the game is replayable. And if I can be so bold, I would also say that the Doc Robot stages kind of hinder replayability. I'm still giving it the replayability plus, I'm just saying. This one definitely does not give 2. Still interesting. that it gets that, the one replayability one. So it does absolutely get a replayability plus. Absolutely, yes. There's no railroading. There's no Raspberry Jam. There's no respec. The save system is that. Sound design, yes. Sound design, yes. Definitely good sound design. Okay. And then we have terrain design. No. There are some specific stages which do terrain design in this one, but the problem is there's too many stages that don't. And I gave pluses to those individual stages, and it mentioned the terrain design there. So yeah, I think terrain is going to be a wash, because there's sometimes it there and sometimes it isn't. It's so clear when they didn't do a polishing pass on some stages. It's so obvious. Like Top Man stage is the example of a stage you can tell they just threw together. So yeah, pass on that one. Trash design, we already talked about that. Traversal doesn't exist. No tutorialization. Cutscene. Visual distinction. No. Yes. No. What do we think about how visually distinct the game is? And while we're debating that, I'll go ahead and let the ending finish playing here. The reason I'm hesitating on that one is I remember several people complaining during several stages about the visuals being, eyesore or irritating. Well, terrain is part of level design, Caspian, but usually when I give a level design plus, it's for a level. When I give a terrain design plus, it's for how the terrain is designed within levels as a way to inform gameplay. Either in terms of enemies, or in terms of traps, or in terms of puzzles, or whatever. So, all terrain design is part of level design, but not all level design is terrain design. Yeah, visual distinction is how clearly and how quickly you can tell what you're looking at, in terms of at a glance, in terms of being able to distinguish what is being seen. Probably the worst example of that would be Sparkman stage. Yeah, I'm just stuck here. Let me just show you what I'm talking about really quick. Yeah, that. Basically, what I'm thinking is I'm willing to give it a wash. I'm not going to give it a negative, because there are some stages where it's like, yeah, okay. And then there's some stages where it's like, Well, not only that, but they choose this weird blue background, which is just kind of weird and distracting in several ways. And they do several sections. Mega Man 3 has this weird tendency, and I guarantee you it's because of how rushed this game was, where the background is just black. And they don't do anything to outline things that are also black against the black. So it becomes difficult to see certain things, especially at a glance, when you're just going through and it's like, huh? Little tidbits like that. So I'm thinking I'm going to call that a wash. Yeah, I think I'm going to call that a wash, which means we're actually done with our score. So let's go ahead and put this away. Oh yeah, let me test something really quick here. No audio desync. Interesting. I might have to play the rest of these on the PC. There we go. Is that everything? That does appear to be everything. So, a few more negatives than 2 got, but more positives as well, which I stand by. Which means we have... I can math in my head, I swear. +2 plus 17. Which I'm pretty sure means it's going to score worse than Mega Man 2, but that makes a lot of sense to me. So 217. Let's pull up our golden number really quick. I mean, just in score, that's worse than 2, and that does make sense. Dead. I was calling it a wash, Caspian, because I don't think it's that interesting or well done. But it's not terrible. Like here. So, like, this isn't bad, but it's not something I'm super impressed by. This is something I would call a wash. On the one hand, this could actually really suck, but it's quick enough to swap between the two. And there's the little icon to indicate what you have looking at. So that's kind of neat. And, you know, the lives and the health things are better, and, you know, whatever, right? So, yeah, it's a better interface than Mega Man 2 or Mega Man 1, but I don't think we're in positive territory yet. I do know when we get forwards, there will be Mega Man Classic games that will get the interface positive, because I think they do a lot better job with the pause menu there. But I can just show that off really quick while I'm thinking about it. Let's just do this. So we just play this real quick. I mean, I do agree with that, Jaron Dauphine. 2 is much more distinct than this. Yeah, without the icons, it would probably be bad. I agree with that. So let's just pick a random stage. God, I love the visuals in these games. Alright, so now we have... So 4 is the first time they have one overall screen for the pause menu, rather than having to switch between the two. So that's a nice thing. And everything's nicely indicated. Here's your weapons, here's your energy, here's your life, energy tanks, us, lives. And of course, there's an icon in addition to more of a name to indicate what we have, right? So 4 and onwards is more likely to get a positive to this screen for the interface. Rush calls back. Yay! Anyways. And then we get to, like, all the way up to 6 here. Just hop into this really quick. 93. SNES was already out at this point. We almost didn't get this game in the States. I always liked this little stat screen, by the way. Maybe I'm the weirdo. I always thought that was kind of cool that they did the little stat screen. Look at those visuals, by the way. They look gorgeous, especially for the NES. Anyways. Similar concept, but again, you can see how there's more styling done to it. And we've got the beat thing over there. No, that's not beat. Whatever that is. So you get the general idea. But we'll get to that later. So, having said all that, let's go ahead and figure out our golden number. Give me a moment to tabulate. And pull this down here, and pull this down here. Any guesses? It's obviously worse than 2, but 2 scored very high. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where it is in the list. So we got 1, 2... Probably Gingaman. Although 5 is the one I'm curious of. Of all of these, this is the one I think that might surpass 2. By memory, I love 5. We'll see. I did a lot of challenge runs in 5, so my bias there is pretty skewed, so we'll see how that one holds up. Anyways, I'll go ahead and tell you the number right now. It's 29.61. What I'm trying to figure out is where it is in the list. Hang on, let me... No, don't quit. Yeah, let's just get rid of the noise there. Okay, so there we go. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that makes Mega Man 3 our 6th highest Mega Man game of the whole franchise. Which, yeah, I'm actually legitimately surprised by that. I'm impressed. I'm actually legitimately impressed. But it makes sense. 3 is another example of one of those games that and we've covered so many of these. We've covered so many games that if they had been given proper support or given proper time or actually been taken care of, you know, in other words, if it wasn't a rushed, troubled production, this would have been a very good game. This would, I have no doubt whatsoever. Oh yeah, sure. I have no doubt whatsoever that this would surpass Mega Man 2 if it had had more time in the oven. Absolutely no doubt. There you go. There's the final score. Hey, NTC, I'm actually about to cut off to do the rumination, but I'll be back in a few hours to play Mega Man 4. Shoot, I just figured this out, Gingaman. Hang on. So we've got X1 is on the top. 11 is high up there. X2 is higher. And so is 2. I think that's... Oh, and 0, 3. So sorry, it's... Yeah, no, 6. I'm right, yeah. So, in no particular order, X1, 11, X2, 0, 3, and 2, and then 3. Yeah, I sincerely doubt anything's going to beat X1. I can... The only games that I figured might beat X1 were already passed. So, I don't think X1's getting usurped. I don't think X7's getting usurped either. So that's just going to sit there. Let me look something up really quick here. Wrong screen. There we go. I've played through some of the Battle Network games, kind of, but I've never actually beaten any of them. So that gives away all I think I need to say about that. 35, 26, 35. Yeah, I mean, X1 is a game that they just spent so much time working on. It's just legit, and there's nothing else for that. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and chop off and start working on the post-stream paperwork and the rumination and try to collate my thoughts into something. I'm just going to be a surprised rumination, I'll tell you what. And then when I come back from lunch, we're going to go ahead and play Mega Man 4, which is, of the classics, probably the Mega Man I know the least about. So this will be interesting to go through. So I will see you guys there.